Five, four, three, two, one, fire.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Indie Wrestling Experience, where we talk about all things related to the Indie Wrestling Experience. I am one of your hosts, Bob. I am here with the other one, John.
Hey, everybody.
And we've got a really cool show for you today. It's a little different than usual. We are going to do a rewatch. Friend of the show, Rich Buchholtz, owner and promoter of Ragin Pro Wrestling, is going to join us. And what we've done is we have hooked up one of his older shows, Extravaganza 1, on YouTube. So Rich's promotion, RPW, they would post matches, individual matches from their events, but they would post all of them. So what I've done is put all of those matches from this show, Extravaganza 1, into a playlist, into as good of an order as I could, and I don't think I got them all correct in order, but hopefully I got them close enough. But anyway, the playlist is there. We will get to it in a minute, but we're going to rewatch that entire show. I think it's 9 or 10 matches plus a Cody Hall promo. So we're looking forward to that. We're going to bring Rich on in a few minutes. As always, we're going to preview a bunch of weekend shows when the rewatch is over. Normally, we do our and new segment where we crown or where we congratulate our new champions of the week. Because we're trying to get to the rewatch, which is already going to be 2 hours. I don't want to make this a 4 or 5 hour podcast, John. So we're going to put the and new champions on. Yeah, John's shaking his head. Nope, not interested. Yeah, me either. So I'm going to do a post on social this week with the new champions that were crowned in this past week, and we'll see how it goes from there. But before we do, two things. One that came up very late, John, which is after you and I watched the Intergender Bonanza show at the H2O Wrestling Center in Williamstown, New Jersey, and we talked about how cool that venue was and how excited we were to get out to a show there and how excited I was to take you there because the energy is just off the charts in that building. Then came the announcement from Matt Tremont at Jameson Shook had a show called Jameson Shook. It's Hot to Go. Jameson Shook Hot to Go. HOTTOGO. If you listen to the radio, I guess. But anyway, Matt Tremont was on that show. Jameson had just been crowned the hybrid champion at H2O, which was weird to me because I hadn't seen Jameson Shook up there in a long time. And then Matt's on Jameson's show this past week, and video started circulating online of Matt announcing that H2O Wrestling is on hiatus indefinitely, that the H2O Wrestling Center will never have an H2O Wrestling show ever again. And my guess is since Matt's out, everybody else who might run shows there under his umbrella are going to be out too. It's sad. A lot of guys have been posting tributes. I saw JB Anderson and Bam Sullivan post tributes and saying thanks for their time out there at H2O. I'm going to sit here and say thank you for Matt Tremont. Thank you for providing that building, giving some really hardcore fans a chance to, blow off some steam and enjoy hardcore wrestling. And thanks for, allowing other people to put on shows that I saw there and had a really great time. That building was it was a different breed, John, and I think you got that from just watching it, just seeing it on TV. You got how different that crowd was.
Yeah, it was, we talked about it, a few episodes ago, and it was a really, really good show, really great place. The way the fans interacted, and were really a part of the show. Place really popped. Now I did, kind of look into it a little bit, found a pretty cool website. It's called PW Ponderings. And they actually have from 3 days ago, they have an article about Matt Tremont addressing the future of H2O Wrestling. So given what they're saying, long story short, everything we just talked about. But apparently, it's definitely not going to be in Williamstown anymore. But Tremont states that he's going to take a break with H2O, but that it will be returning, and it will be returning with a new home that'll be the TWE Arena in Chattanooga.
Yep.
So, maybe this is, goodbye for now in this iteration. But, hey, if we can get Matt Tremont back, we can get kind of, the spirit of it back. And I look forward to what they're going to do. Um, more power to them. And like you said, thank you for all the great shows and entertainment, man.
No doubt. And look, I'm sitting here right now while you're saying that, pulling up maps trying to find out how far a drive it is to Chattanooga. Let's see what the verdict is here from where I'm at, John. That's a 9 hour and 46-minute drive. So that seems like maybe more a flight if we were ever going to do that.
Yeah.
But
But I still think that H2O in whatever iteration it's going to be is worth us, making a trip, man.
100% agree. 100% agree. Matt did an excellent job. Deathmatch wrestling in New Jersey will never be the same without those guys. Although I've seen a lot of the guys who wrestled at H2O already starting to put together different bookings or trying to put together their own
Hmm.
thing and keep the New Jersey Deathmatch legacy going. So those guys are inventive. Something will fill the vacuum. Obviously, CZW's around for sure. But nothing will compare to H2O, man. Not in my mind. And well, again, we wish Matt the best in Tennessee, regardless. And we look forward to it
Absolutely.
when H2O comes back. Yeah,
We look forward to hopefully getting out there, man.
yeah.
Down there, in there, out there, somewhere.
Whatever
We want
direction,
to go
man.
to a show.
Yeah, I wasn't a geography major. Don't ask me. So anyway, so before we get to the rewatch with Rich, the one thing I wanted to mention or I want to talk about this week was I wanted to talk about this ACW Fire Queen of Maryland show. ACW is James Ellsworth's promotion here in the Baltimore area. Fire is female in-ring entertainment. He's got that listed with separate social media handles, but it's obviously like Dreamwave has Uprising. It's kind of the same thing. But this was the Queen of Maryland tournament. They announced 4 first-round matches, and they announced a triple threat for the Fire Championship, currently held by Riley Crow. I thought, and I think John thought as well, he can speak for himself, but that this was going to be a tournament where we went from 4 matches to 2 matches in the semifinals and a final. That was not the case. We ended up getting 4 first-round matches that led to a fatal 4-way at the end, which I was perfectly fine with and I thought was really good. But I want to talk about a couple of these first-round matches while we have a chance, because you and I were talking last week, John, about how much we liked, how excited we were about the talent on the show. It's a
Absolutely.
lot of the ones that we knew, and we started off with just an absolute pro, Danny Moe, taking on John's favorite Southern Maryland
Mhm.
lawyer, Journey Burke Esquire. What'd you think of these two ladies live?
Hey man, it was a great match. These two are definitely as advertised. It's the first I've seen either one in person. Um, it was great match. Danny Moe did what Danny Moe does. Journey Burke did what Journey Burke does to work the crowd. She definitely was catching heat in the room. Um, and you know, loving every minute of it. And, the crowd loved just giving it back to her.
Yeah,
So, and Danny Moe, like you said, white meat baby face. I mean, she's built for that. Um, Great match, man.
it was. It was. I love Danny Moe. I can't say enough good things about her. The notes I had, John, from this one: first, Danny Moe reaching over the guardrail and grabbing the chicken, the rubber chicken. That popped the absolute hell out of me. um, and then I think what you were talking about getting the heat was, I think there was a near fall at one point, a 2 count, and everybody started screaming that they thought it was 3, and Journey Burke says, "I'm surprised you people can count." Which, like I told you,
Spoken
I
like a
leaned over
true
and told
Southern Maryland lawyer.
seriously, man, I leaned over and told you what I said to you. I said, "Bro, everybody knows lawyers don't do math, so I don't know what she's talking about, man." But she's probably the least trained mathematician in the room if she's a lawyer. Believe me,
Yes,
I
but
know.
it was a great match. I mean, both of these ladies can just flat out go. Um, it won't be long. You'll be seeing both of these ladies in bigger venues with more exposure. No
Without
doubt in my mind.
without question. Um, so the next match we had Sammy Chaos taking on the Cotton Candy Princess Tiffany Avatar. John, the only note I have uh, from this show is 3 words. It says the Vader Bomb.
Dude, Sammy Chaos is impressive. Um, I, I don't even have the words to describe it. I mean, you talk about, in a women's division, women's, tournament, um, having a monster. Sammy Chaos is a wrecking ball, man. She is a force of nature, an absolute monster. I never seen Tiffany Avatar before. Um, I wish her a speedy recovery because, whoo, Sammy put it on her, man. Oh,
Yes, she did, man. Good God, Sammy Chaos she's a force to be reckoned with.
yes,
Uh,
she is.
I wish that we put more belts on her. I just have a feeling that I have a fear that she's being brought in like they used to feed monster heels to Hogan in the '80s. Like bring her in for the
Hmm.
title match, put her in the main event, but never put the belt on her. Because I don't see too many belts put on her. That stinks. Because I think she's just good. God, if Sammy wanted to win the belt, Sammy would take the belt from you. Facts.
Oh, absolutely. But you had it. Definitely Bam Bam Bigelow vibes. That kind of, and I'm not trying to misgender anybody, but big man vibes. And I don't mean that in
Right.
a male female kind of way, just as an adjective, a big man, energy. Um, Dude, she's just amazing, amazing, amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So she moves on to the final round. Then we got to see someone we've been very high on from seeing her on video on TV on IWTV. But first time I got to see her live, I think it's the first time you got to see her live. Erica Demia,
Hmm.
your
Hmm.
hero, uh, and taking on Brittany Blake. What'd you think of Erica Demia live?
As advertised, man, she definitely plays that kind of anime girl character perfectly. And I mean her look, her ring attire, her move set, it's perfect for what she's put together. It was, I would say it's the most complete package of any of the girls we saw that night as far as a completely 100% fleshed out character. It was great. It was great.
Yeah, I can't say any more than that. Honestly, I think the world of Erica Demia. You saw I bought her shirt. I translated the
Hmm.
Japanese on it. I was very curious what kind of Japanese dirty phrase or curse words were on Eric Demia's shirt. So I used my Google Translate, took a picture of it, and I found out that the Japanese at the bottom says Eric Demia. Well,
There
I
you
guess that
go.
makes sense, right? Oh man. Yeah. So then Brittany Blake wins this one on a roll up. We're really high on Erica Demia, but don't sleep on Brittany Blake. Brittany Blake's been around for a long time. She's great in the ring too, and she was definitely catching
Hmm.
some heat. Right,
Absolutely.
she's doing a good job catching heat.
Yeah, she's definitely got that mean girl vibe to her. She being smaller stature, she kind of reminds me a little bit of like a like early oh heck, who am I thinking of here? It- that's gonna haunt me now because now Alexa Bliss. There we
Okay,
go.
all right, there you
She's
go.
back, guys. She's back in my head. Early Alexa Bliss, where it's kind of that small cheerleader kind of look that you wouldn't expect. Um, much physical out of. And dude, Brittany Blake can just flat out go, and she's tough as heck. She definitely deserved the win in the match, and that's saying a lot when you're in there with Eric Academia, I think.
Yeah. And the funny thing about them is, I think if I remember correctly, I think I used to follow. I think I still do, but it's up maybe Twitter because I don't see her very often, and I'm not on Twitter that often. Whatever. But I got the impression I have to go back and look. But I think Pretty Blake is a cosplayer as well. Like I think she does the
Hmm.
Comic Cons and dresses in the cool shit. Like I think she posts a lot of really cool pictures on her. Maybe it's her
I
Instagram
have to go check it out.
where she's dressed up. So a lot of very cool stuff with her as well. The last first round match that we had, Nahir Robles versus Amara Void, and Amara Void is probably catching some people by surprise right now. Anybody who's looking at the Indie Wrestling Experience rankings that came out this morning woke up to find out that Amara Void is the number third ranked indie wrestler around, as far as I'm concerned, and mainly that's because she is Amara two belts, man. She's got the MCW title, the WDWA title. She's won them both within a month and a half of each other. She is on the rise. We've seen her twice in the last week, John. What do you think of Amara Void?
Hmm. Um, that lady can work the crowd like nobody's business.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she can get instant heat anytime she wants. I mean, her fan interaction is next level. And her wrestling can back it all up, dude. This was a good match. Like you said, we had seen Amara Void. We kind of knew what we were getting with her. Nahir Robles was new to me. Um, and listen, she was good as well. It was a great match. It was quick, but told a good story. Um, kind of set up the rest of the evening. Really, it was the match that kind of set. If you watched it, kind of set everything up, at least for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it was, like I said, it was good, man. All
Yeah.
these matches were great.
Yeah, absolutely. I have two notes. One is Amara gets DQ'd. That was at the end. The other note I have is two words, and I got to imagine that they're two words that are on the mind of probably at least 12,000 people who saw the video that I posted on TikTok. But the note that I have, John, is the stink face. Boy, she hit Amara with that stink face, boy. You and me both popped big time.
Well, I mean, come on. Why do you think Amara got herself disqualified, man? She lost her mind. How dare you? How dare you, Nahir? How dare you?
Oh man, it was a great visual. I'm glad I got video of it because it's just fantastic, man. She's just like rubbing it in her face a couple extra times for
Dude,
emphasis, man. Like Jesus God,
they hit that right in the corner from
right
us.
where we were, yeah.
Yeah, it was like I said, we couldn't have been sitting any better. It was crazy. My wife went to the show with us. Shout out to January. Um, was a little taken aback as to, oh my, what are we watching? So we had
Oh,
to give her a little breakdown in the nuances of the old stink face.
that's right. You show her some Rikishi videos when you got home. I'm sure that's what she wanted to watch.
Oh yeah, went over like a lead balloon.
Yeah, usually does. Usually does. So then we go to break and we come back and we got the finals of the Queen of Maryland tournament, the Fatal Four Way. But before that, we do a title match. Riley Crow, the defending champion, taking on Taylor Brooks and Simone Valentina. You know from me saying it at the show that I'm now a big fan of Riley Crow, but I'm
Mhm.
also a big fan of Taylor Brooks. Man, her energy is just like pitbull energy or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, the crowd was definitely you know with her. They were behind her. Um, great look. I think once she gets some more in-ring experience, we're going to be seeing that name in a lot of places. I really do. Same with Simone Valentina. Um, Phenomenal look.
Yep.
She's got great size. I think again, once she gets some more ring experience, some ring time, um, she's another one we're going to be seeing around. But Riley Crow, it was her night, as she's on a different level from the other two girls, and
Yep.
it showed.
Yep.
And that's not taking anything away from the match. The match was great, but it worked out exactly how you would expect it to when you've got two newer wrestlers in there with somebody as experienced as Riley.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I did make a note there that they said, because it was an all-women's show, James Ellsworth would be banned from the building, but it turns out that's not the case. Riley Crow goes back towards the
Oh,
curtain. We see a face with no chin pop out from the curtain. Next thing you know, Riley Crow has a sheet pan, and she used it to pick up the win. Dirty, dirty heel tactics, and that damn James Ellsworth, damn him.
oh, my bestie. Yeah, old James. Uh, just just you couldn't help yourself, could you, buddy?
That's
Just
right.
couldn't help yourself. And the fact that Riley used the sheet pan to win when she clearly did not have to. She just feel like smacking one of these young ladies with a sheet pan.
Exactly.
Whew. Poor Taylor didn't know what happened.
She's another one, Riley, who knows how to work that crowd. Like, she was
Yes,
generating heat
she
from the
is,
moment she walked out of the curtain.
dude, and her look is so polished. I was just extremely impressed.
No doubt. Well, so then we get to the main event. We got the Fatal 4-Way from your winners from earlier: Sammy Chaos, Danny Moe, Brittany Blake, and Nahir Robles. And apparently, this is not just a Fatal 4-Way, but it's an elimination Fatal 4-Way. Where is this? What I thought I had? I've got Brittany eliminated by Sammy with the front slam.
Yeah.
Nahir wins it with the code breaker after skipping out on the Vader bomb. Those must be the last two eliminations, but I don't see where Danny Moe went out. I don't. Did you make a
So
note?
if you remember, Danny kind of snuck out at one point and was kind of over there by us at the the barrier. And she's like, "Hey, I think I need to take a rest out here. What do you guys think?" Well, we think that a cool wrestler's talking to us because we're
That's right.
nerds.
That's all we were
And
thinking.
yes, Danny, you should rest right here by us. Let
Hang out.
let these girls handle Sammy.
We're such marks.
And then yeah, like you said, Sammy wipes out Brittany Blake. Um, you know, Danny rolls back in the ring, and to be honest, I mean, the next thing I know, Danny's pinned. I don't know what happened. Nahir hit her with something, or Sammy. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it surprised most people in the audience that Danny was out.
Yep, 100%. But yeah, so Nahir hits that code breaker on Sammy at the end. 1, 2, 3. Nahir is your Queen of Maryland. I didn't get a lot of great pictures in the ring, so I'm not proud to say it, but there was a guy over by the curtain as everybody was leaving, posing for a picture that someone else was taking with Nahir wearing her Queen of Maryland crown. So I took a picture of them, and then I cut Nahir. I cut the guy out of it to post a congratulatory tweet to Nahir Robles online. It's obviously very cut the photo, and I apologize to the guy for stealing his moment, but it was the best picture I could get.
Yeah, well, let's just say, we're sorry, guy, but let's remember you're a 45-year-old man at a women's wrestling show on a Friday night.
Yep.
Things happen.
Also
Like
true.
you get cut out of pictures. But obviously, I mean, Nahir was visibly emotional about the win, which I thought was kind of cool. It was kind of a cool, genuine moment um, of, congratulations. It was kind of cool to see the other wrestlers come out, kind of give her props, kind of make her take a stand, take a bow. It was a cool ending. It
Yes.
was cool. My wife enjoyed it. We enjoyed it.
Show was a
Like I
tight
said, man,
two
it was a
hours.
good night. It was quick. It moved. There was nothing. At no point did it drag at all. It was great, absolutely great.
Yeah, yeah. The last thing I'll say, the only minor bugaboo is someone from that area. Hopefully, John will figure this out for the future, since he just moved over there. But if someone can tell me where the official overflow parking is for Beefalo Bob's, please let me
Yeah, it's
know. I have no idea. When that lot is full, there's nothing. You just gotta hope you can park at a nearby business. Maybe there's one that all the locals know is isn't going to enforce parking, and I just didn't because I'm out of town. But it was definitely hard to figure out. I mean, that place is packed.
I will look into that. Yeah, I will look into that because where you and I kind of park, within a couple of spots of each other, kind of across the street.
Mhm.
Um, Dude, we played a little bit of Frogger to get across that road. It was a little on the sketch side.
Yeah,
So I'm with you. I would like to figure out where I can park at least on that side of the road next time. But as far as the venue, it's a great little place to catch an indie show.
no doubt, no doubt. The last thing I'll say about that is I had thoughts for about 12 seconds when I parked to look around for other places, and I realized that I had parked at the strip club. I had a moment where I was deciding that I was going to just stay parked at the strip club until I realized that my wife knows my location on my phone. So I thought I would park somewhere more like where we parked, like in front of a garage, a real estate office or some shit.
Good call, Bob. Love you, Kelly. He was a good boy, I promise. January was there to vouch.
That's it. That's it. You're with me the whole time, I promise. Oh man. All right. Well, listen, we've got a long enough episode as it is. Let's get to this rewatch. Let's bring Rich on. But before we do, I just want to say, look, we pre-recorded the rewatch, right? So I'm catching some stuff that I missed that's coming. But I just want to make sure everybody knows there are two places that you can rewatch this RPW Extravaganza 1 with us. If you go to the Indie Wrestling Experience YouTube page, and click on the playlist tab. There's only two, and one of them is this. It's called RPW Extravaganza 1. The playlist is. You can follow along from there. Please just make sure that you account for ads on YouTube because we're watching it without ads. Also, the reason we're watching it without ads is because I took the videos with Rich's permission and I linked them together into one long video that I uploaded to Google Drive that John and Rich and I are watching from for this rewatch. If you would like that Google Drive link to watch this along with us without the commercials and in sort of the same format in the same way that John and Rich and I are watching it, just reach out to me. I don't know if I'm going to post it. It's possible I'll post it on one of the socials in a comment, but I'm not sure yet. The YouTube playlist link will be in the comments of the post for the podcast. The YouTube playlist will be on the link tree, and it's also available by request. So just reach out to us on social if you can't find it. All right. Well, then, without any further ado, let's get to Rich and let's get to RPW Extravaganza 1. All right. I am so excited for this, John. We've got Rich Buchholtz, the owner and promoter of Ragin Pro Wrestling, with us. Welcome back, Rich.
Well, glad to be back. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited about this.
Good to have you, man.
Oh, sorry, John. I'm super excited about this. I've been excited about it ever since we talked about it, Rich, a couple of weeks ago, setting up this rewatch here. RPW Extravaganza 1. When you mentioned it, I didn't realize how stacked. Like you told me it was a stacked card. You told John and myself a few of the matches when we were talking. But when I actually looked at the card, man, I mean, it's like 10 or 11 matches and then a long Cody Hall promo. I mean, this card is stacked.
And like the backstory to it is, I'm not sure we're going to get into the Cody Hall promo, but Scott Hall died 2 weeks before that show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. I did watch bits and pieces of it before we started, and the Cody Hall promo was one of them. I mean, certainly an emotional moment for him. It's got to be.
Yep.
And I think it's safe to say all three of us are very big Scott Hall fans.
Yes.
Scott Hall, who, by the way, is originally from right here in Southern Maryland. His brother, Steve, is the former police chief, or the sheriff down here.
Okay.
So that's a pretty cool connection.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Heck
yeah.
yeah.
Scott came to the
Cody flew from Baltimore.
what's that?
Cody was flying from Baltimore when we brought him in. I think he lives in Atlanta now, but he was living in Baltimore.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, very cool. No, that's definitely an emotional moment later in the show. But yeah, this whole show is stacked. Rich, give us before we get started. We got a couple of minutes here. Tell us about, where was RPW at this time, and to kind of set up what we're about to start watching.
So this is our fourth ever show. The show is on my 38th birthday. So my birthday was yesterday.
Happy
The
birthday!
show was March 26th. Thank you. The show was March 26th, 2022. When we booked it, everything based around Chelsea and Deonna. Nobody did that match before we announced it, but 3 weeks before we had it, Impact did it as a surprise, having Deonna do a challenge and Chelsea accepted. I'm like, great.
Damn it!
But it was just one of those things where we heavily advertised it, and obviously people talk, and like our graphics were really good, so like I think that they kind of picked up on how much buzz it was getting, and they did it before us, which does happen. They weren't the first, they won't be the last.
Right. Oh no, definitely. I'm sure. All right. So if everybody's got the show pulled up.
Yep.
Everybody's good. Okay. So I'm sure we'll end up on a few seconds off of each other, but I will just do a countdown here. We'll do 3, 2, 1, play. So as this starts, the first match here is Kenny King versus Silas Young. I mean, god damn, you're starting off with this match, Rich.
Yep. This match is pretty crazy.
Now I know you've had Silas a million times, but have you had Kenny King before?
Yeah. We have not. We brought in Kenny King. Silas and him are pretty good friends from Ring of Honor, and I wanted to have a really good match. We kind of copied the the AEW logic of having a really good opening match because back then AEW was doing like Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage and stuff like that for opening matches.
Right. Wow. There's some good chain here at the beginning, man. Oh.
Yep.
I like Kenny King, man. I was a big, John and I were just talking about this last night when we were recording the show for this week, and about how Rich, you and I probably talked about this before, how I took there was a very long break where I was away from wrestling for my teen years until about 2014. So I knew nothing of Ring of Honor until then. So my main, I knew of wrestling in 2014. I didn't really get into Ring of Honor until probably 2016. By then, Jay Lethal is already the champion. And then I rode that through to the end, through the pandemic, and then to the purchase with AEW. And that was my main, focused ROH fandom. I mean, I've gone back and watched the older stuff, which is awesome. And now some of the newer stuff doesn't look as great. But Kenny King was always one of those dudes that just stood out. He can go in the ring. He can cut a promo. I always thought really highly of him. I thought he would have more things going on.
Bob, you and I talked not too long ago. Actually, our last podcast, we talked a bit about Jay Lethal and just not the understanding of, man, if I've got if I'm a promoter and I'm bringing in, I need to start something new. That's a guy that you want to run with it. Kenny King's on that same level. There's nothing that guy can't do. And again, like we talked about with Jay Lethal, there was a point where, maybe he was an undersized guy, but nowadays the perfect size. I mean, Kenny King has got the perfect size. He can talk, he can wrestle, there's nothing that the guy can't do.
Oh, Oklahoma roll. that was
Yep.
cool. Oh, man, these guys look good. And you know what's funny, John? The other thing that we talked about before, and I'll just sum it up by asking you this question: if you saw Silas Young in an alley, would you even continue down the alley? Like, are you fighting Silas Young? Or are you even taking a shot at him?
No, he reminds me of one Bill Richards,
That's right.
not a guy to be messed with.
Hey, Rich, I don't know if we've mentioned this before, but John's scared to death of my dad, and actually I am too because he beat both our asses.
Okay.
My dad was a
Okay.
cop for years, and very stern.
One of the toughest gentlemen you would ever meet anywhere.
Oh, handshake? Nope. Silas said,
Gotcha.
"Screw it." So this is at the watering hole, Rich. Is this the first show you ran there?
Yep. No, we had every show there so far. So like we would have had Heat Wave there, Destiny, Redemption, and this would be the fourth show there.
Yeah, I liked that venue when I went and saw it when I came out the first time. It's just so big and wide open. You can do a lot of things with it. And then having the rest of the stuff with the other side, like the beach volleyball and everything, that's a cool little complex.
It is. So like if you see the black entrance on the other side of the court,
Yep.
like there's a door over there. Originally, we had that as our entrance. I thought that was really cool because like we have pretty much the locker rooms are underneath the sand. So like the basement and stuff is underneath that sand.
Right.
But there's a door over to the one side. But the thing is, like back during the show, they rented it out, so some family lives down there. So like we only got half of the building. That's why we're coming out on this other side.
That's nuts. There's a family that lives down there.
There is a family that lives down there.
Wow. That's
Because
neat.
like our first ever show, we had the entire underneath. So like we had like this long tunnel where you could have did like a whole vignette of having somebody walk up the entrance, kind of like Clemson or Virginia Tech for college football, coming out to their entrance beam and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I can see where that would be cool.
So like the referee in the ring right now is TJ Bowles. TJ Bowles actually owns Hybrid,
Oh, really?
the company. Yep.
Does he still do anything in ring, or did he own it at this point?
No, he did not own it at this point.
Was he-
Hybrid came around 2 years ago, I believe,
Mhm.
or maybe last year. I don't know. It was either last year or 2 years ago.
Looking right now because I remember seeing it.
Got it.
What's that?
Man, Silas just got it.
Oh yeah. Oh, Kenny King's getting it now, man.
So Silas and I used to travel together.
Like,
So,
when you were reffing?
Silas
Road
was
stories
originally-
there.
Oh yeah. So Silas and I are. He was originally from Appleton, and then he moved to Milwaukee. So he's from Milwaukee during this point in his career. So like he lived in Milwaukee for like 17, 18 years. But like pretty much he was part of my class at the end of it. So my class consisted of Joe Avalon, Jay Cash, and Silas Young.
That's pretty cool.
So like my class is pretty stacked. Yeah.
That's a nice class right there.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm gonna get Rich because we were talking about this off air and you weren't on yet. Because it's pertinent, Rich. Why don't you let him know who Jay Cash is now?
Jay Cash is Jay De Niro from OVW.
I was telling Rich we were just talking about him last
All
night,
right.
man.
Yeah, we were. That's crazy.
I tell you what, Rich, we were talking to Samson on our interview on the podcast last week, and he sent us the match that he had with Jay De Niro before we did the podcast. Man, Jay is a big. I mean, Samson is I think 6'6", but Jay De Niro is a big dude too.
He's very, very tall. and like he doesn't act his age, and that's not an insult, that's a compliment.
Uh-huh.
I believe he's like 55, 56,
Oh, wow.
somewhere in there. Because he didn't start training until he was like 36, 37, somewhere in there. But because like when he was,
saying he had started later as well. So
yeah.
John,
So like,
doing it.
Mhm.
We
a,
keep joking
a
about going to
lot
wrestling
of
school now to be commentators or referees or some shit. Something that doesn't take a lot of physicality.
referees take a lot more than you think.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. But I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Rich. You were going to say something.
So like the reason we brought in Kenny King also was I was a huge fan of the show Tough Enough,
Mm.
as we've talked about with WID and LFG. Uh, my goal is to get somebody from each class originally.
Oh,
So
cool.
like Kenny King would have been season 2. He was on season 1. He just didn't get part of the cast. Um, and then we had Chelsea on the show, which she would have been part of I think season 5. That's one, right? Season
Right,
4,
yep.
Season 5.
Or that would have been Mandy Rose's season,
I
right?
forgot.
Yes.
Yep.
I had forgotten that Kenny King was on that. Was on Tough Enough.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Kenny King should have won it.
Yes, you're right. You're 100% right about that.
They ended up going with both the girls, and both of them pretty much flopped.
Yep.
They
Oh,
Linda
that was the
Miles
one girl was
and
in. Yeah, she was Shaniqua.
Jackie Gata. You know,
And who was the other one?
she was with the Bastards, I think. Jackie Gata was the other one.
That's right, Jackie Gata. Jackie Gata was around in TNA and a little bit here and there too. She lasted a little while longer than Shaniqua did.
Yeah, she lasted okay, but like her issue was she was having a lot of issues with drugs.
Uh, well, John and I were talking about this probably several episodes ago, but I'm going to call it back and just say you haven't mentioned having anybody on your show from Tough Enough season 1 yet. And so if you haven't, may I recommend Nydia, because I'm a big Nydia guy. I don't know why. I just always been a big Nydia guy.
Is she still working?
No, I don't think so. I think she's
I
like
don't.
a real
I
estate or
haven't
something
seen her
somewhere.
for forever.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think she's
Like
working.
I see pictures of her recently. I didn't even recognize her.
Really?
Bob and I were big fans of the hillbilly gimmick with Jamie Noble.
Oh.
They did that. It was just a great combination. So
Yeah. Yeah. Redneck Nydia was my favorite for sure.
So like that move is generally Silas's finisher.
Uh-huh.
I don't usually ask him what their finish is. So like I was actually surprised that he kicked out of that.
Yeah, at 1, right? Is that what I just saw?
He kicked out of 2.
Oh, okay, okay. Let's see. We're about 11 minutes in. I'm guessing they're probably gonna start going home soon.
I believe probably I think it's like a 15-minute match.
Okay.
15, 16.
Yeah, that's the one thing about these. Anybody, if you're watching along, so I created I put this thing together for the three of us to watch this combined sort of. I combined all the YouTube files, but anybody who's watching on YouTube will be following the playlist. So just another mention for everybody who may have commercials on YouTube. Make sure that if you want to stay with us, that you you pause us while your YouTube commercials are going. Oh, what is it? Oh, that's it. That's it. Just like that.
Oh, that was a
Rolling up in the corner.
I love it.
Do you remember that you said, Rich, you don't talk to these guys about their finishes, but were you involved in much of that match at all, other than telling them that Silas was going over?
That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
I was like, come up with your stuff. So a side story to this match, Damian and Ace were roommates when this match happened. And they did a show in West Virginia the night before. They drove all the way up from West Virginia to get there and got there like 4:30.
Wow.
Ace actually reached out to me to try and get booked on the show, and I'm like, I have no money. Like, this show is like $18,000, because of all the flights and stuff. So like back when this show happened, I didn't understand the whole spring break logic. And when you get from probably December 15th till after spring break, your flights are ridiculously expensive. Your flights that are normally 500-600 are 1,000 to 1,200.
Ooh,
So I had 11 flights that show. We spent almost $7,000 just on flights.
man. So
So like,
For it, man, it jumps up at you.
yeah,
so like Ace Austin was probably, I know he was X Division champion at some point. I don't know if he was during this match. I don't believe so, but I could be wrong.
yeah. Now you said to me that Ace was a surprise, and I thought if I looked back, you had like Damian Chambers like advertised to wrestle maybe TW3 or somebody.
He was scheduled to face Johnny CK.
Johnny CK, sorry, yeah. And then so how did that end up getting switched out? Did that get switched out because Ace reached out to you at the last minute, so you moved Johnny over, or something else?
So I'm trying to remember. Rico Rodriguez, I think is how you pronounce it. Was supposed to face Johnny CK, or wait, Rico was supposed to face Cody Hall, and he had to cancel. So then we just brought in Ace and then moved Johnny CK to face Cody Hall. Is what we did.
I gotcha. Trying to go for this cross arm breaker here, man.
I was gonna say that was a slick move into an arm breaker, man.
No bullshit, man. And I should
Like
say
I
this.
had no idea who. Back then, I had no idea who Damian Chambers even was.
Uh-huh.
Now Damian Chambers is one of the biggest known people out there. Like I would guess Chambers gets signed within the next year to 2 years, if not before.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw him when I was out in Wisconsin at your show, and I had seen him, I think, before that in Pennsylvania at well, now they're 814 Wrestling. I don't remember what were they called before. Um, and somewhere out something out in Altoona. I don't remember what they were called before, but now they're 814. But Damian Chambers, he just looks really put together, you know? Like looking at him and Ace Austin here, like they both look like they could be on TV having this match right now. Oh, maybe not that.
That move was choppy, but I think a lot of it was just nerves because like Ace was still a star. Um, this is 2022, obviously, so like you are gonna see some people with masks on because COVID was just ending at this time of playoffs.
Right.
So like I see the
Whoa.
one person with the mask on in the front row.
Yeah, Ace does that handstand move, man. I
That's
love
so
that.
good. I do too. Now I want to know what he's about to do next. I'm a big Ace Austin guy too. I always thought like to me when I would watch Ace Austin around this time in TNA, well, Impact, I would think to myself, this guy can cut a promo. He's got charisma out the wazoo. Like he's destined for WWE, and then his TNA stuff is kind of stalled.
It has like I thought that they would push Ace Austin a lot harder than they have.
Yeah.
They pretty much made him a tag team with Chris Bay, and then Chris Bay got hurt, and then they didn't really know what to do with him.
Yeah. I saw an update on Chris Bay recently. I saw he's doing better.
He's doing better. He walked to the ring, yes, for the show on Sunday night.
Yeah, I haven't watched that yet.
I have not watched it, but like I saw like pictures and stuff of it.
Cool.
I mean, it was a packed show. I believe where they ran it, I think was the FSW Arena. If that's the case, that's Kenny King's building.
Right. And that's what
So like FSW is ran by
by who?
Kenny King.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Wow. I had something in my head I was going to ask you about. I lost it. Wow. Yeah. I mean, these guys are just So good.
They're like that.
They are. And so you knew Ace Austin was coming in, but you didn't tell the fans. So you made the switch at the
Yeah,
show.
correct. So
Well,
like the blunder of it, when you did this, did you cut out the music?
when I when
Like
I
was the music on there and you cut it out?
no, I didn't. I didn't. There wasn't on there. These are straight from Will's
Oh,
videos, um,
okay.
from YouTube. I just pulled them and
Because
connected
like
them.
okay, so like the music, I remember I screamed at the audio guy. It wasn't Mike at the time; it was somebody else, if I remember correctly. But anyways, they the music. So like Ace comes out, and all of a sudden somebody else's music is playing,
Ugh,
and I look and I'm like, what is going on? Because like I'm over in the corner, so you can't even see me at the watering hole. So like I'm by the door, but all of a sudden like he's like walking to the ring and his music stops. And like that stuff, that's like a big pet peeve of mine. It's like the ring stuff I get, stuff happens, but like other stuff you can't screw up.
right. It's about professionalism, and I mean, those are the little things that
So,
make you look sloppy.
uh-huh.
Absolutely. As we're sitting, oh, I think Damian's setting
Because
up
you
for
can,
something here. What's he doing? Oh, damn it! I thought we were gonna see
It's
something
on
really
'em.
cool. I was going to ask you, Rich, though, while these guys are down for a second, talking about
yeah,
Will and the videos that he used to do. John, I don't know if you noticed, there's cameras on a couple of these turnbuckles, and then
yep,
he would have like the cameras on a couple of the turnbuckles, and then he'd have a hard cam set up high, and then he'd be running around like
yep.
the guy who was doing Rich's videos for Will for the longest time he's really good and really professional.
Oh, by seeing the match here, man. I mean, it's the production is slick. It's nice.
What
I mean, he does a phenomenal job. The biggest thing just came down to for but like his work is really good.
I didn't hear what you said. The thing is what?
Payroll. He
Oh,
wanted way too much that we couldn't afford him.
gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at his. I mean, I've seen his work, and like I said, I was there when he was running around, watching him actually do it live here at the watering hole, and so he's definitely very good at what he does.
Mhm. And pretty much he was just a fan, is what it came down to.
I
It
find that
wasn't
happens
like
a
he had a
lot.
career. Yeah.
And we have a girl out here
He
who
happened.
does photos of the MCW shows. Tina, John, you see Tina, right? Running around ringside.
Yeah, yeah. Tina's running around all the time.
She was a fan too. Just started showing up and just started taking pictures for free, and then they started hiring her, and she takes great photos.
Yeah, they're really good.
Whoa! Oh, nope. All right, now he's got him on his doing like a one wing date. Nope. This is it. He's got him. He's got him locked in. He's got him
Going for
locked
the
in.
armbar.
Nope. And these guys are giving it all, man. This is good.
So if you ever follow Bruce City Wrestling, JP,
Hmm.
he's usually the manager there. That's him in the ring as a ref.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's so cool, man. That's one of these things doing these reviews and stuff that I find out like the referees, the ring announcers, the time, like, there's all stories behind all these guys. They're all just as traveled as, these indie guys are. And, so there's so many stories and so many things going on. I mean, you were a ref, Rich. You've got a hell of a story now. You're running
Yep.
a promotion. This guy's running a promotion. I mean, or the last guy was running a promotion. I mean, it's just crazy. They all have stories, and I think a lot of fans probably ignore the ref most of the
Yeah.
time. What's that, John?
Well, that they're wearing so many hats, man.
Yeah.
Rich, I'm sure you've worn, a ton of hats. Um, like you said, you just you don't really know what you're watching until you get into it like this. So,
A lot of refs, especially like WWE and stuff, like a lot of your ring crews are referees.
mhm.
Mm,
So like Mike Chioda was in charge of WWE for probably 15, 20 years for ring crew.
right.
And like just imagine like they're not just putting up the ring, they're doing the stage and everything else. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, that's all the stuff that you guys, all the work that you guys put in behind the scenes. It's just like until you see it, you don't realize how much work it actually is. And I was there on a show day with Rich and saw how much it was, but I still haven't even seen the 6 months leading up to a show, all that work he's got to do. So I can't even. It's it's just it's got to be a lot of work. And now I'm finding out it's a lot of money too.
Oh yeah, I mean, our cheapest show I think was $7,000.
Yeah, that's interesting stuff, man. I 18,000 for this show. It's just. So did you when you spent $18,000 on this show, you spent all this money on these flights? Did any adjustments or financial strategy change after this?
100%.
I figured.
Pretty much we got rid of Eventbrite. The reason we got rid of Eventbrite, like a lot of people still use them and teach their own. They charge 10%.
Whoa.
And the thing is, when you do a event, you get paid every 15 days, or you get paid 5 days after the show. So like I didn't get paid from the March 15th till March 31st. So we sold a bunch of tickets last second, and we didn't see any of that money until March 31st.
Wow, not to interrupt you, but there's Ace Austin puts him away there at the end. That was really good one. I enjoyed that one a lot. Yeah. And now we got Karam, who I haven't seen much of except at Rich's shows. And is this Isaiah?
Yep.
Isaiah Moore?
Yep.
Karam's a big boy. He wrestled somebody really big when I was out. Oh, Fulton. He wrestled Fulton when I was out there with you.
He wrestled Fulton. And that's on the outside, that's Rohit too.
Oh, yeah, that's
TNA.
right.
Fulton is everywhere, man.
Uh-huh.
Like this show is packed with TNA guys.
It really is. And I remember when I was out there with you, Rich, I saw Rohit. I think Rohit was Silas.
Yes.
And that might have been one of the best matches of the whole day.
That was a really good match. That was Extravaganza 2, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it was this time the following year when I came out, 23. But speaking of TNA, go ahead.
That show, I was just going to say, I think that show was like April 29th. Does that sound right?
Something like that, yeah. It was the last weekend of April, I remember.
Because like pretty much what ended up happening was my mom passed away 3 weeks before that show. So like I was trying to do everything on scramble.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember yeah, it's coming back to me now that you mentioned that then too, and I feel bad for you having to go through all that. Or maybe this was a diversion.
That's all good. It is. I mean, it was one of those things where the show still goes on. Like, life goes on. Like, you just got to keep moving for your own moment.
Who's this referee? Is that?
That is Jimmy Diamond. He
I met him when I was out there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's what I thought. I thought I recognized him, but I wasn't sure. Yeah, but speaking of, I'm gonna throw this in here right now because it's kind of the news of the day for us, and we're just talking about how many TNA stars are on this show. But the news came out today that Maggie Lee is signed to TNA. Man, let me just let me take my first opportunity, John, as the Indie Wrestling Experience, to congratulate Maggie Lee. But at the same time, Rich, we were just on here talking about it was only a matter of time, wasn't it?
Oh, 100%. I thought it was gonna be earlier than it was. Like when I saw her, we brought her in, I think, first time. We brought her in. I think she faced Heather Reckless, and the match was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I thought the world over. I mean, like I said, when I came out to your show, those were the first 1 and 2 times I had seen her, but I've seen her wrestle probably 10 other matches since then, just because she pops up everywhere, and she headlines for the women almost everywhere she goes, and there's a reason for it.
Oh, 100%. And she's very professional. Like, I think she messaged me yesterday for my birthday at like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Uh-huh. That's nice of her.
Mm-hmm.
What's I don't know much about Karam. I mean, I know he's with Rajit because he showed up a couple times with Rajit, but was Karam, maybe either one of you guys know, was Karam in any of the big companies at any point?
He was not. He had a little bit of an injury bug. His physique though is phenomenal.
Yeah.
He sometimes will wrestle for AAW out of Chicago. I think he uses the name Ezekiel,
Okay.
something like that, or Big Zeke, or something like
Yep.
that. So
Not to make this whole show about Maggie Lee, but she's their champion too. Oh my gosh. I have her ranked in 3 different companies as a champion right now. It's nuts. She's like just like John, like WCW when Ultimo Dragon would come to the ring with his, was it 8 or 10 that he had?
I think and back
Put 'em
then
all
that
the
was
way.
the
What's that, Rich?
same. Back then that was insane. You
Uh-huh.
never had that. You never had somebody come to the ring with all those titles.
Right. Yeah, that was still in the age where most people didn't even recognize other companies existed.
Exactly. Like
Much
the
less
indie
show their
scene didn't
titles.
really become a thing. Yeah. I mean, the only indie scenes you really heard of back then was like AAA out of Mexico and stuff like that.
You'll say at that point, all as far as I was concerned, all I knew of was, like you said, AAA, maybe New Japan.
Yep.
Other than that, it was, whatever the big companies were that were on TV. So
Right. Now looking back, I find out there were a couple other companies, but I guess we really know what, IWA Mid South was running back around that time, I guess, and had no idea.
mhm.
NWA Wildside, I guess, was around for a while. But the scene is it's crazy. Like I go back to this thing because you can watch it. Like I have, because I'm ridiculous. I put IWTV in chronological order on my site, Rich. I don't know if you ever saw that, but so all the matches from 1989 forward are on a page broken down by year in order, and you can watch the independent scene kind of go up and down. Down through the 90s, then up in the early 2000s, then down again from like '08 to like 15 or 16, and then in 17 things started picking up again. It's weird. The indies are definitely hot right now. They're definitely way up right now. Every major promotion wants a piece of the indies.
It's one of those things where it just goes in cycles because there's times where it's deader than dead, and there's times where it's hotter than hot.
Mm-hmm.
So like the thing I always caution a lot of promotions on is when you run monthly, it gives fans a reason to miss shows
Mm-hmm.
because unless you have a developing storyline, there's no reason to go to every single show unless you have the money. Because like I mean, back when I started, like tickets were I think the high was $20.
Right.
Now that's
Mhm.
low for one general admission.
Isaiah's taking it to this
I mean,
big
a
boy,
family
man.
and four. That's a,
What's that, Rich? I'm sorry.
well, I was just saying, like, so like back then it was reasonable to bring your family and stuff. Nowadays it's more difficult.
Yeah. That was nasty right there, man. Good God. That's a big. Oh, is that over?
Dude,
Yeah, that should have been over.
the height they got on that was ridiculous.
Good. He's such a bit. Oh, now it's time. I'm here for this. The Beer City Bruisers. And now tell me about these guys. So I know Aaron Arsenal, Rich.
Yep.
We've talked about him before. You've had him on your shows before other times. But I think this other guy's name is
Yep.
Perfection.
Yep.
I don't know anything about Perfection.
Perfection was trained by Seth Rollins.
Oh, nice. Well, that's pretty good company.
And then a little side note is Brian Milanis was the trainer for Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks gives him a lot of credit.
Really?
For yeah.
I know Malonis and somebody had a podcast for a while. I don't know if they're still doing it.
I'm not sure.
All right, so Bruiser's out now, cutting a promo without us turning it up, without anybody being able to hear. Do you remember anything about what this angle is here that he's doing? Or is he just generally talking trash?
Oh, I don't remember this promo.
The guy in the blue on the outside. I met him at your show, I think.
Yep, you did. It's his wrestling name was Angelo Stefano.
Yeah, I sat and talked with
He
him for a while. Real
also
nice guy.
worked for Ultimate Wrestling Trivia.
Right.
Very nice guy.
That's right. That's right. The Ultimate Wrestling Trivia guys. That's
Yep.
when I met him and Devin. But Devin's, I mean, but that's when I met all those guys out there. And the other guy with Ultimate Wrestling, the was always with Devin.
Mike Mercury, and then Derek. Yep.
Yep. Derek.
Yep.
I was when I was asking you earlier about Perfection, is Perfection still around? I don't. Like I said, that's a name I don't even really see ever on my end.
Yeah, he's still around. He works for a company that's called Knowledge Wrestling. He works for Frontline occasionally. Um, he's still around. Like he lives in Illinois. Um, so very nice guy.
I love Malonis on the apron reacting to every one of these shots from Beer City Bruiser. And then Bruiser bites him. Of course he does. And right. There they go. Both of them are bit. I miss these guys.
There's not a lot of twofers in there, but the ones he's got hurt.
No doubt, man. And John, you and I talk about this frequently too, man. If you could put a tag team together that makes me feel good about how I look, I'm all for it, man. They got the dad bods. We could fit right in with them. These other two guys, they're too in shape for me. Oh my God. Speaking of guys that are in shape, Rich, Royal Flavor was on AEW last night.
Yeah, they were. I got notifications as soon as it happened. That's the one nice thing is Derek and Devin will message me immediately anytime anything happens. So like I don't even have to watch a lot of stuff, but I get notifications.
That's so good. That's fantastic.
So like if you're seeing stuff on social media, that's me reacting to whatever they're sending me.
I bet.
That's funny.
I think I had 4 or 5 notifications within 10 minutes of Maggie getting signed.
Wow. So while we're talking about Maggie getting signed, I was looking for a place to squeeze this in, although I'm having a hard time taking my eyes off the Bruiser, man. That guy, talk about charisma, he's hilarious. And now he's tagging in Malonis. Man, I love Malonis, boy. But while we're talking about that, so Homecoming, the last time you were on, you had made some changes to this card, and then I completely forgot to ask you about them. And I know that some of them involve Maggie and her match, and then a few other matches. So tell us about some changes that you've had to make to Homecoming in the last few weeks.
So he had to cancel. She's got another opportunity, and I told her to go for it. Maggie won't be there. She was supposed to face J-Rod. J-Rod is actually going to be overseas. So when J-Rod canceled, we ended up booking Shelly to face Maggie, and then Maggie can't be there. So we're actually going to have Shelly versus Jordan Cross at an intergender match. Then we pulled Ethan Matthews from the Fatal 4-Way, and then we pulled Ryan from the tag match because we already pulled Jordan.
Right.
So Ethan Matthews is facing Ryan Cross, and then the Fatal 4-Way is now triple threat with Johnny CK versus Miguel Money versus Isaiah Moore, the champion. And then the tag match is Baker Boys versus Gen Z versus Royal Flavor now.
Mm-hmm. Right, because the Crosses were in that Fatal 4-Way tag match.
They were, yeah. So we added a match instead of doing anything else. So we had 8 matches, now we have 9.
Right. Now I want to make it clear, John, before I say this, that I have no inside knowledge from Rich This is just me talking shit, I guess. But I am calling it Royal Flavor wins those belts. It's happening May 31st. Royal Flavor is going to win those belts. They're going to rep RPW for a while. They are amazing. Royal Flavor. That's my prediction.
Yeah, you've been high on them for a little bit, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, there's Stefano getting involved.
They were actually trained. They were actually trained by Mr. Kennedy.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that school, John, Ken School he's got a list of alumni on there that's pretty crazy at his school.
Oh, I mean, if you're going to learn from somebody, I mean, a lot worse people out there, I'm sure. Ken Kennedy. I mean, that's
Mhm.
that's a good one to get, man.
He's had a lot of names come through there. I mean, obviously the biggest one at the moment is obviously Tiffany Stratton.
Mhm.
Top Flight came out of there. The Olympic guy, can't think of Stevenson came out of there.
Oh, Gable.
Yep. They're like it's a laundry list. Like I can't figure everybody off the top of my head that's like on TV, but it's quite a bit of people.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think Bob and I are both on record as loving Ken. Everything that guy's done has been money. So
He 1000% should
He
have
definitely
cashed in that Money in the Bank for the world title. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
there was so many dynamics with that that he's talked about that pretty much he went to the doctor and was told something totally different, and that's why they changed it because the strap had to come off the Undertaker. Undertaker was severely hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. Because he's just, I mean, one of the best guys on the mic
oh
ever.
yeah, absolutely.
By far, yes.
Oh, you get hit with that. You hit with that sidewalk slammer Malona's boy. You'd have to scrape me off the mat. Will you stop barking? Oh, here we go. Let's see. They got the bruiser isolated now, which I would think would be the spot where the champs are going to go ahead and retain, but nope.
Just the two.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And so the other thing I'm going to call here again, John, I have no inside knowledge, but just because I'm being outrageous right now, Rich is talking about J-Rod having this opportunity overseas. He's told me nothing more than that. I don't know what he knows more than that, but I'm just letting everybody know I don't have any inside knowledge on this. I'm just making outrageous predictions. I am calling J-Rod in Marigold by the end of the month. Well, because Stardom's dying, isn't it? No, that's not true. Are any of you guys paid attention to that? Like, is Marigold cutting into Stardom? Does anybody know?
That I don't
I
know.
don't know on that one either.
Yeah. Oh, here he goes. Here he goes. Oh. And the bruiser. This has got to be it. This has to be it. And there they are, new champs. That's awesome. I love that sequence at the end.
Not many people getting up from that.
No. So, Rich, how long were they champions for you after this?
They were champions till November.
And this
so
is
we
March.
did yeah. So, we were trying after that show to try and figure out a way to not have every title on the line per show, just because we were paying so much money for stuff. So we didn't actually bring them in until we had them drop the titles.
Right. Oh, I see. That makes sense. Now we've moved on here, and now we've got one of the matches that I've been looking forward to. I haven't watched a minute of this match yet. Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo.
Are there? Can you name me too many other wrestlers that are as smooth as Deonna Purrazzo?
No.
It's ridiculous.
So, side story for this match, this was supposed to be the main event. Deonna was severely hurt going into this match. Deonna sent me a message on Sunday, the week before the show, going, "Hey, just an FYI, I'm in a lot of pain. I got hurt on Saturday. She was facing, I think her name, the really young girl from AEW, that got signed early,
Oh, Billy Starks.
Billy Starks, and Billy Starks landed on her leg and hurt, like he was hurt from it. It was an accident, obviously, but so like she was hobbling a lot, and she's like, "We can't make this the main event." She's like, "It's not gonna be quality work for the main event."
Oh. And now she's powdering, so I'm guessing this is all part of the
scramble.
Yeah, you can see Will right there with he's got a handheld on a selfie stick.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I only mentioned Will so many times because I've seen a lot of indie wrestling shows, and I've seen a lot of different ways guys do production, but I've never seen one guy running everything, running around like a chicken with his head cut off like Will, but everything turned out so well.
He rewatches the match and edits it like 7 times. And he just kept adding cameras, and I'm like, dude, like, we're not WWE. You don't need all these cameras. Like at one point we had 6 cameras. I'm like, I don't want to watch the match 4 times, let alone watch it 7 times.
Right.
And he'll sit there like he's like, one match takes me about 3 hours to edit, because you gotta time everything out with the different angles.
Oh, right. Yeah, you don't have somebody in the truck. You don't have Kevin Dunn or somebody in the truck switching camera angles every 30 seconds. You got to do that shit on your own and time it up.
100%.
I didn't even think about that aspect to it. That's
a level of commitment I don't know that I've got, man.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, the amount he wanted was definitely justified. It was a matter of we couldn't afford it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like he wanted an amount that like WWE or AEW or TNA would have to offer him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like you said, you can see his work is really good, but if you can't, I mean, if it's not part of your scale at the time, then it is what, then that just is what it is. No hard feelings, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I'm good. I mean, he felt the same way, but it is what it is. It's
that's fair.
Decision.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense too. I'm going to tell my Deonna Purrazzo story here because Deonna Purrazzo is one of the handful of wrestlers that my wife knows. And
okay.
The reason my wife knows who Deonna Purrazzo is because the very first wrestling show I took her to, we went to like 4 weeks after we started dating. And I took her to a Ring of Honor pay-per-view at UMBC, John. And so Marty Scurll was on that show, but Deonna was not, and she was dating Marty at the time. And after the show, and if it's me, I'm standing by the edge of the door right as the bell's ringing, and I'm rushing out to be the first one out of the parking lot. My wife's a little different. We ended up kind of strolling out of the arena, and then there was quite a bit of traffic. So she was like, "Well, why don't we, John? If you could picture that arena, like if you're looking at the arena to the left, there's like that parking lot, and then there's like a hill back behind it." She's like, "Why don't we just sit up at this hill and just wait for the traffic to clear?" Well, while we did, Marty Scurll and Deonna came out and ran to their car. And my wife from the other side of the parking lot is like, "Hey, my husband's over here. He's a big fan. We think your match was really great." And like from the other side of the parking lot, I see Deonna and Marty wave and say thank you and just jump in their car. I told you she makes friends everywhere.
I'm guessing back then Deonna probably lived in Jersey, right?
I think so.
Okay, she lives in Florida now,
Oh, I bet.
and then she's married to Steve Macklin.
Oh, did they get married?
Yep.
Good for her. Good for them. I'm a huge Deonna
So
Purrazzo
like
fan. I know.
story,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say a side story for this show. So Chelsea, Deonna, Santana Garrett, and Britt Baker are like pretty much best friends.
Okay.
We had everybody on the show except for Britt Baker.
Yeah. That's awesome. I don't know if it's
But
me.
Britt Baker was pretty high up at AEW back then.
Yeah, yeah. Now I just saw actually the rumor mill's up on Britt Baker again because I guess yesterday she took the AEW moniker off of her Twitter account, leading to all sorts of speculation.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. I don't know if it means anything, but AEW is famous for making that into an angle, and they're saying, "Oh, this person's gone," and then she'll show up at Dynasty probably, but who knows? I know with her and Adam Cole breaking up, that's got to be weird backstage too, though. Of course, it happens all the time. Yeah, see, Deonna keeps going outside the ring, powdering, and it's like I don't know if it's because I am. Oh, she just won. I didn't even realize that.
Just one. Yeah.
Okay, so this match. Okay, what is this? Area Davari versus TW3. Oh, awesome. I know TW3's been out there a few times for you before, right, Rich?
Yes, yep. I believe he was not he wasn't. We didn't have the cruiserweight title quite yet, but he was our first ever cruiserweight champion. Arya Davari is actually Sean Davari's brother. Arya Davari was part of not like the NXT, but like the Speed and all that stuff before he got released. Now you can see him on AEW.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. How did this come about that you got Arya Davari out there?
He worked a lot in Green Bay before this. So like we reached out to him because like I knew his brother. I worked with his brother quite a bit. So very, very, very nice guy. He was trying to figure out a way to get the crowd to not cheer him because of who he was. So I'm like, well, just rip on the Packers. That's your easiest way to do it. So like he cut a promo on the Packers, and after that they got behind TW3 right away.
Is this coming up in here, or is this in video that was during the intros that's cut off from this?
It's probably before it, so it's probably cut off.
Okay. I mean, we don't have audio as we're sitting here with it right now anyway, but damn, look, TW3 got the dancing going on. He got moves.
He does. So back then, TW3 was just pretty much local. He didn't work for OVW or anywhere else really. He just did like stuff in Milwaukee, Chicago, stuff like that.
I feel like, and Rich probably could correct me or tell me if this is right or if it sounds right or wrong, but John, I thought Samson told us when we interviewed him a couple of weeks ago that he was trained by Jay De Niro and TW3.
Possible.
Or off the top of my head, I'm not 100% sure.
It's possible. Like TW3 and Jay De Niro had a school in the Green Bay area, so it's very possible.
Yeah, and that makes total sense because I think Samson was telling us that the school, I can't remember what the school was he called it. I have to go back and listen to the episode, but the school that he went to was, he said, a 3-hour drive from the UP. So that may make sense.
That's very possible. Yeah, that's very possible.
That's very cool. How long is TW3? I guess the reason I mentioned it or even made a note of it in the first place was, to me, TW3 is a real young guy. Has he been around longer than I think?
TW3's, I think he started like maybe 06, 07, somewhere in there, would be my guess. TW3 and I are the same age.
Wow. Yeah, I'd have thought TW3 was in his 20s. Just
Wow.
watching him in the ring and
Yeah, I'd have never guessed that.
TW3, I believe, is 42 or 43. I'm 41.
woo,
Jeez.
you're both babies, but still.
I was gonna say, I haven't looked that good since I was about 14.
No, I knew you when you were 14, John. Keep going back further.
Oh, shut up. No, this is much more fun when we all feel better.
Yeah, I guess it is. Oh man. Jeez, oh
Oof.
flip. So, have you made any other official changes to those cards coming up?
No other changes as of right now. So far, everything is still good.
Okay.
That would be changed.
Good.
Hopefully no other changes. We're still waiting on Maggie for clearance for 927, but that's about it.
Now that's gonna be
Awesome, man.
Jordan. No. Oh,
Jordan versus Kaci.
Jordan's versus Kaci. Who's Maggie supposed to have on 927?
Lily
That's right.
Louise.
That's right. She's another one, man. I've been seeing her everywhere. Ever since I saw her at your show, man, it's like every time I turn on a show from anywhere in the Midwest, she seems to be on it.
She's definitely getting her name out. I think she's like 32. So like she started really late.
Oh wow, that seems to be a theme we're running into a lot. A lot of these people are starting late. I would have thought, 95% of these guys would start when they were 20, but I guess that's not the case.
A lot of them, it's just like a passion thing, and then they kind of evolve into it.
Right.
And that's why you're seeing a lot of these people in their prime when they're over 40, because they make it to TV later on because they're more mature than they would have been when they were 18 to 20.
Right.
Rich, given the amount of time you've been in the industry, man, and around everything, are you finding that it's kind of changed? That it used to be that, they started a lot younger. Now they seem to be coming in later. The majority, or is that just kind of who we're running across right now? Just kind of happenstance.
It depends on the person. The example I will give you that started really late, that's getting her name out, is Jordan Blue.
Mm-hmm.
She started probably 4 years ago, and I won't give you her age, but I will tell you that we're not that far off.
Bob and I have both been married long enough to know, but we were smart enough not to even ask.
My spidey sense went up on the back of my neck, and I was like, "Don't do it, Rich! Don't do it!" He caught it. Oh my goodness! And Jordan's another one. I would have assumed Jordan Blue was 27.
Yeah, I would have too.
Just from seeing her from the outside and watching her in the ring. I mean, that may be another thing too. I mean,
go
ahead.
Well, like when I book their flights, a lot of times I have to double check and make sure I have the right year because of that. Because a lot of times you just sit there typing and you don't pay attention to it.
Right.
And then sometimes you just go, wow, but time definitely keeps going.
There he goes. TO3 up to the top. Oh, no. Oh. Man, TW3, he like hops everywhere. And that's Jimmy Diamond in the referee.
That 90s vibe.
Yeah, Jimmy Diamond.
Yeah, the checkered on the pants, man. That's some Owen Hart shit.
Yeah.
Some Coco Beware.
Just the overalls, like I said, the aesthetic is just super 90s. I'm loving it.
Yep. Oh shit, that was nice. Now Davar's up.
Yeah, TW3 got away from this, and it was definitely over with the crowd.
Got away from which part?
like dressing like.
Yeah, like I said, Rich, I'm digging it, man.
Oh, the DDT. Now he's got the rug out. Oh, what the hell are we doing with the rug?
It's called the Magic Carpet Ride.
I love it. That is fantastic.
That's awesome.
And he just assaults Jimmy Diamond with the rug afterwards.
I believe he got that from the movie Aladdin.
Yeah, no, that would make sense. It's so good. Oh, this is Santana.
So, yep. So Mike Mercury was the ring announcer back then, and Devin was outside doing like interviews.
Oh, okay. Why did that change up?
So it was just easier because Mike knows the audio stuff better.
I gotcha.
So there's a bunch of people there that were Santana's family. I think Santana sold like 45 tickets to the show.
Damn. All right then.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
Kaci. Queen Kaci. Yo, let me tell you something, John.
Yeah.
If I post something online of Kaci Lennox, I get at least 2 comments on every post about Kaci Lennox calling her Queen Kaci. That's how over she is, and it doesn't matter what part of the country I post it from.
Well, it's funny because like around here, I'm the only one that brings her in. I don't know why.
Yeah. She's so over. It's crazy. And even when she's a heel, they still love her.
Yep. Well, that was my whole point with the voting, was to pretty much show people like, doesn't matter if you're heel or face, if you get a crowd reaction, they're gonna vote for you.
Mm-hmm. She's sneering at him right now.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, Santana's the babyface here, right?
Correct. Yes.
Has Kaci always been a heel for you? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. She does a thing in her match that you pretty much have to make her a heel. She like does that scream that's like over the top. That I mean, if you have the volume up, you can definitely hear it.
Oh yeah.
I reffed her first ever match that we brought her in for, and she didn't warn me about it. I couldn't hear it on my right ear for probably 4 months.
Oh, see now Santana's
she
going
came
the other route.
backstage
Okay.
like, oh, I was just gonna say that she came backstage. She's like, "Oh, I think I lost my voice." I'm like, "Oh, that's tragic."
You're like, huh?
I was gonna say you didn't give her the old Steve Austin. What? What?
My ears are still ringing at the time.
I believe it.
Oh
That
man.
screech is something else.
She does it during this match. I know she does.
What's that?
I was gonna say I know full well she does it during this match.
I'm trying to turn it up too.
So like once she goes for a pinfall, I'll be quiet with it and I'll just let you guys listen to it and you'll be like, wow.
Can any of you guys hear audio playing through that? Because I turned it up. Can you hear the audio playing through my microphone at all?
No, I can't hear
Okay.
it.
All right, good. I was going to turn it down if it. See, she's just working the crowd. Look, listen to them boo her, and then they'll go on social media and call her Queen Kaci. It's an art. It's truly an art. And Santana's going the other way from Aria Daivari. She's playing the Packers thing all the way up, top to bottom.
Oh yeah, she went and bought a cheesehead that day. They bought the Packer Favre jersey.
Hey, Bob and I are out of here on the East Coast, but we're Packers guys all the way, back from way back. So we're
another
digging
reason.
it.
Another reason why we got to go to Destiny, John.
Hey man,
get up to Lambeau. We'll be right there.
Listen, now that we seem to have my wife in on this, we may have some trips in our future.
Hey. Oh, that's good because
So
I
I'm
was.
the
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm the only one of the group for that runs RPW that's actually a Lion fan.
Yep. Yep. Lives in Wisconsin, John, and he's a Lions fan.
Man. I got
No problem. You know, people like who they like, man. Nothing wrong with the Lions, Rich.
Nope. It's just rare that I get to give someone else shit for cheering for an out of city team because that's literally all I do. Oh, I like that. Wait, where'd the streamers come from?
That was where for the Scott Hall thing for
Oh,
Cody Hall.
I got you. Now she's arguing with kids. This is so good.
the crowd, man.
For sure.
It was probably one of our biggest crowds.
So they're
I think
outside
we
the ring.
probably had close to 300 there. Just a lot of them were on the one side.
Right. Yeah, oh, you can see them. Oh, she's starting to screech a little bit.
So Kaci is a diehard Ravens fan.
That's a shame.
Who won't bet against her?
Well, she's from Baltimore, so I can give her that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but how did you hook Santana Garrett up for this show? Did she reach out to you or you reach out to her?
I reached out to her. Kaci was trained by her.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's definitely a Florida connection here with these two. I see him in Shine.
Yeah, I think Santana does some training at the Devon school or did, and I think that's where the connection came through.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Like I don't know exactly where Santana lives, but I have a pretty good idea where Kaci lives as far as vicinity.
Mm-hmm. Well, now she's stealing the headband.
Now go after the gear, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that Santana did the little Macho Man tassels with the green and gold on her arm. That's an extra step.
Yeah, this show was hilarious because we had catering downstairs, and Chelsea Green was just fascinated with cheese curds because she's never had fried cheese curds before.
That's
Oh, my
awesome.
goodness.
That's so good.
So she's just like going crazy, going, "Oh my God, these are the best things ever!" And I'm like, for us, it's not a big deal. For her, it was huge.
Uh-huh. That's awesome. Nothing wrong with some fried cheese curds, man.
You know,
How can you make cheese better? You
Fry it. Come on,
Hey,
man.
exactly. Here we go. Got a rally coming.
Yeah. Santana sells so well.
Yeah, yeah. See, and this is another one, John, that like, and I'll say something to you, but really Rich is the guy I want to weigh in because he's from inside the business. But this is another example of what we're talking about. These are two top level indie superstars who know how to put together a match. They've built this thing and it's about to crescendo right now. And you could just sense, like you could just feel it. Like we were telling Rich, I think maybe it was Samson last week or somebody. And it's like I can't put my finger on it because I'm just a fan. I never got trained, but I know it when I see it.
so like pretty much a lot of stuff that we do is based on chemistry in the ring.
Hmm.
Like I don't want their first ever match generally to be at RPW. We'll do it with
There it
certain
is.
people.
There's that screech. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt yours.
You're good. Could you hear what I was talking about, John, with the screech?
I did. It is,
That's a note that I haven't heard very often.
Yeah, then a lot of times, like I said, she'll go backstage and be like, I have no voice. I'm like, oh, that's tragic.
Yeah. But you were saying something about the chemistry.
Pretty much a lot of times we'll do matches based on if I've seen them at other places.
Right.
Like the only ones we have not, the only ones that are marquee that haven't had that is if
That was even worse. Sorry.
you're good. Is if Ken versus Zilla and Ken versus Silas.
Oh, right. Right. Those are years in the making matches.
You know,
I love that idea. I had no idea until you put that story together, though, that Ken Anderson was Umaga's last opponent. Like I
yes.
went on Cage Match and verified, like the very last one. That's Ken Anderson.
Yes.
And then you had him with Zilla.
And
like,
Eddie Guerrero's last match was Eddie Guerrero's last ever match is against Ken as well.
Oh wow. Wait, you just put the belt on her?
Yeah.
Oh, so you had her back.
Yes, but not till later on.
Kind of like with the bouncers.
Yes. Yep.
She was champion, but for a while, but only because she didn't have a match. Did you take it off her the next time she was there?
We ended up stripping her of it because she wasn't available for a couple of our dates right away. So then we ended up moving on because like it was becoming like a year almost.
Right.
So pretty much the streamers to explain that. We surprised Cody with those, and they were the colors of Razor Ramon, the
Oh,
red
that's
and the yellow.
right. Yes, this must have gotten out of order then, because like I said, I pulled these results from Cage Match, and I pulled them from the order going from down. But this is clearly out of order because the streamers were there for the last match.
Yeah, you're good.
And I got the promo. The promo that Cody cuts is after the match, right?
Correct. Yeah, and that was after the match. Yes.
Okay. All right. Good. At least I have it in that in the right order here. This is honestly, I think maybe the second time I've ever seen Cody Hall wrestle. Like I think I saw him show up for Bullet Club once in Japan, but I don't know that I've ever seen him any other times.
I think now he's got like a cowboy gimmick.
Oh, really?
I believe so. Yeah. And like this show was 12 days after Scott passed away.
Right. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, I've been getting the anniversary messages a couple weeks ago on Facebook. So this is Johnny CK wrestling Cody Hall. He's a guy that you have in and out all the time. Anybody who's not familiar with Johnny CK, give us some intel about Johnny CK.
He's a very dependable wrestler. He's more local. He's very good. He's a very good bumper. He's a very good seller. I definitely recommend him for a lot of companies that can use more talent.
Yeah, oh, that's awesome. He's the Pikachu guy, right? Or the
Yep.
whatever that thing is. I love it.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Yeah.
Cody dwarfs him.
let's say Cody definitely got
Stay at size, didn't he?
Uh-huh.
Cody, I believe, is like 6'8". I want to say Johnny CK is probably like 6 foot on a good day.
Mm.
This is it's just oh, that was loud. Yeah, I should have kept the volume up on this the whole time. It's much better this way. How did I'm gonna guess you had Cody planned before his dad died.
Yes,
How did you end up?
we
Yeah.
he started hitting us up because he was following Casey's stuff.
Mhm.
And then I'm like, well, it depends on what you want. Like, I knew who he was because I knew the last name. But like, I'm like, it depends on what you want and depends on when we can get you in. Because like back then, we were reaching out to everybody else. Now people are reaching out to us.
Mhm.
And like now it's like every single person that reached out to us, unless there's like a miracle, we're pretty much telling we have no room at the moment
Right.
because we have a list of over 200 people waiting at least. And we've had over 130 people wrestle for us.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, you can see the body language, man. There's a lot of Scott Hall in his body language.
100%.
His structure is almost completely the same. But even how he like kind of
Yeah.
walks and like ambles backwards when he gets hit, like even sells kind of like Scott. Oh man. Misses the boot.
I haven't watched this since this match, and he got a lot more offense than I thought he did.
Uh-huh. That split-legged moonsault was nice.
Yeah.
Oh, standing shooting star. All right now. Oh, kids are saying that was 3.
There was more kids there than I've ever seen at an RPW event, ever.
Oh, Johnny thinks he's putting him away. I'm sure Johnny CK is about to beat Cody Hall, I'm sure. You brought in Cody. You definitely brought in Cody
Maybe.
to have him do a job.
Maybe. Wouldn't be the first time.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure that's true. Yeah. Oh, damn with the tope. Oh, we got. Damn. And there's the strength. Ah. Who was that was hitting those chops the other night, John? Was that Drolix? That's what these sound like.
Yeah,
That hurts more
They're
than anything
solid.
else.
Oh, that. All right, that didn't go so well.
Not really.
A few more reps on that move, dude. See, and there's like you talk about Johnny CK selling right there. Look, I mean, the midair black backflip reminds me of like Brian Danielson.
100%, yeah.
I always loved that.
No matter where I see it, it looks so impactful, man.
Yep.
Another person that does really good is Cedric Alexander does a great job of that too.
Mm-hmm. Who was it we were watching the other week, John? It was Austin Mulatalo, and he got hit with that enziguri, and he did a forward flip. John and I popped. We were like, "That's such a little touch, but it adds so much." There's that crucifix. Yeah, he ain't coming back from that. He ain't coming back from that. That's a nice little sneer from him there too. All right, Cody's going to address the crowd. You So did you reach out to Cody like after his father died, or did you guys have any conversations about him possibly not coming?
I did, yeah.
He was good to go.
He was good to go. Like I thought for sure he was going to cancel.
Yeah. We all loved your dad, dude. Every single one of us. If you're a wrestling fan and you didn't love Scott Hall, there's something wrong with you.
Mhm.
It's like the other week it was someone
I would
maybe
agree.
Brock. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, man,
Like you said, if you're a wrestling fan, you know there's something wrong with you. Or I really have to question: do you understand what we're watching, what we love?
Right. It's like Brock Boulder told us a couple of weeks ago. If you ask someone who's the best wrestler in WWE and their answer isn't Chad Gable, they're wrong. Hard to disagree with that one too. El Grande Americano. I saw something about this week that the Lucha community's upset about him doing this gimmick. I don't know if it's just internet exaggeration or whatever. That there's real teeth to that story, but I would certainly hope not. There have been
I
other.
mean, I'm sure you've got somebody that's got their tights in a bunch, but by and large, I think people are digging it.
I would agree.
Yeah. This is just a random question to you guys, since everybody can't listen to the promo we're listening to. But if you were, well, Rich, you were a performer, but John and I haven't been. If any of the three of our fathers were famous in the wrestling industry, and then we became wrestlers, would you use your dad's name?
I would say no because you're always going to have the shadow part if you do.
yeah, I gotta agree.
Agree with Rich on that. I think I'd want to, try to make it on my own.
Right. Yeah, I think I would probably do the same thing. But then I'm thinking about that LFG episode that we watched or whatever with Elijah Holyfield. And he's like,
Right.
Holyfield connects you to everyone. Then you got to break away and be different. You know what I mean? I think that's a tightrope to walk. If you can do it successfully, it's amazing. But I think that Brian Pillman Jr. / Lexus King is having a real hard time with the exact same thing right now.
Yeah, but
100%.
Look at who's done it and been successful. I mean, you got Randy right now. I mean, just off the top of your head, you Randy and Cody. I mean,
Yeah, who else?
they've never
Right.
kind of shied away from it. So, and both of those guys. I mean, you talk about coming out from under absolute legends,
True.
and I would say in their own rights, man, they've carved their own place, man. Absolutely. Same
Cody for
with
sure.
Dustin. You want to do Rhodes. I mean, Dustin is. I mean, you think Dustin, you're thinking his characters, his career, his thing.
True.
Um, yeah, it's I think we've talked enough and seen enough that you've seen it go good, you've seen it go real bad. I
Yep.
think there's probably more on the didn't work out for him side than the Randy Orton Rhodes brothers side, but.
Right.
I would have to think I'm with Rich and have to try to make my own name.
Yep. But, oh God. All right. Now this has to be a tough moment for him, man. That's got to be emotional.
That's making my heart hurt watching it.
Wow. They're all
also
giving
you
him the
gave him
love.
that time.
Rich, that was really That was really cool, man.
These are two sweets. I feel like he doesn't know how to do the two
Yeah,
sweets.
I mean,
Oh, we got one. We're just not putting much effort into it. Got it. Okay. If it was for the camera, we get the full thing. If it's for the kids, we get a more of a fist bump. Oh, that's really cool. Oh, Shane Hills.
Just watching him, just watching him walk, and like you said, it's just there's so much of his dad in it. Just the little movements, you know what I mean? Mm.
Now, this is someone I know nothing about. Kevin Kruger.
Kevin Kruger did a lot of dark matches in WWE.
Did he?
Yeah, he did a lot he probably did it under his real name of Kevin Smith.
I'll have to go back
I
and
believe
look.
he's got like 22 dark matches.
Wow. I'm doing this. I'm looking at it right now. Let's see.
Like I know he's faced like Vader and Owen Hart and stuff like that.
And Shane Hills has been around forever. He's a veteran.
Yes, and I mean Kevin's actually been around longer than he has.
That's crazy. You said Shane. Didn't Shane train you or help train you?
He was part of it, yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Shane and I were also part owners with Mike Mercury and a guy named Rob Norwood. We co-owned Mercury One Wrestling.
Mm-hmm. John, this goes back so far. Rich is not kidding. 1990, September 18th, 1990, Dino Bravo defeats Kevin Kruger on an episode of Superstars. 91, Sergeant Slaughter on Superstars. High Energy, Coco Beware and Owen Hart defeat Kato and Kevin Kruger. Oh, look at that. Kevin Kruger versus David Heath. I guess that was before David Heath became Gangrel. Erwin R. Shyster on an episode of Wrestling Challenge.
Yeah, that's topical, man.
We got a IRS day coming up soon, bro.
Yeah, no. Oh, God. Let's see. Tatanka defeats Kevin Kruger on Superstars. 1995.
He's been in with everybody.
Hey, man.
The
That's
Godwins.
awesome.
Wow. Now, here's a throwback. That you can't even hardly barely remember that this title reign took place. But this is a cool thing. WWF light heavyweight champion Jerry Lynn defeats Kevin Kruger on an episode of Jacked. There's a whole bunch of things in that statement.
I don't remember Jerry Lynn being a champion in WWE.
Right?
I vaguely remember it.
But I do remember liking Jacked, man. Jacked was a good little show for the little bit it ran.
Jerry Lynn was the
No, was
light
that
heavy-
after
okay.
Shotgun Saturday Night? Was that after Shotgun Saturday Night or no?
Let's see. Shotgun Saturday Night ran from 97 to 99. And Jacked. Let's see. Jacked ran started in August of 1999 and ran to May 2002.
Okay.
Wow, it ran longer than that.
I remember it running.
Yeah. It's a shame because there's no Jacked episodes on what was the network or Peacock. Like, those are the ones I want to watch, man. I want to go back and see Velocity. I want to go back and see, like, Shotgun Saturday. You know what I mean? Like,
Wow.
Today you talk about, and you just blew my mind there.
I want to see the deep cuts. That's one of the things, like, John and I were talking about, Rich, how I'm doing a rewatch right now in 1986, and Like, I'm getting the biggest kick out of watching primetime wrestling. All these house show matches between, like, Paul Roma and Scott McGee. You know what I mean? They go 20 minutes to a draw. Like, I'm loving the hell out of watching these matches like that now. It's like, when I was a kid, I would have appreciated it.
And this match is very similar as far as it's not as fast paced as a lot of the other ones.
Right.
But I mean, like back in the 80s, most matches were going 10 to 15 minutes and the finish was a body slam.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, there's a lot. It's
How many?
good.
I was gonna say how many of the old matches we watched, and it was for it's TV time limit. Oh,
WCW is notorious for it,
right, exactly.
especially during Ric Flair's title reign.
No doubt. Yeah, I don't think anybody will ever be able to replicate what Ric Flair was in the 1980s. Like, I mean, the traveling, the territories, the holding on to that belt, and basically being the flagship for that promotion for a solid 8 years. I mean, even Hogan didn't do that. Hogan did 4 years, and then he was gone. Like, Flair just kept going and going, and they just continued to make him the top guy, and he continued to reward them for it.
Like, I don't remember what show it was. I want to say it's Clash of Champions, but there was an episode where Scott Steiner wrestled Ric Flair, and I remember he was pinning him. It was like 1, 2, and they literally cut out as like the refs got his hand to go down for 3. And like for a week, you're wondering if he won the title because back then you didn't have the internet.
Right.
Yeah, you gotta wait till next week.
Week in the preview of the episode at the beginning. Yep.
Oh, it was awful. I'm like, this is so good, but so bad.
Yeah, and then you go to the mailbox and you get one of your.
For it every week.
What's that?
I said, yeah, but we came back for it every freaking week, didn't
Every
we?
time, like addicts. My gosh, man. No, I was gonna say then you got to wait a week to find it out, and you're like, no, it's okay. I'll just go to my PWI or one of my after mags, and the damn thing's 3 months behind. That's what life was like before the internet. You get your PWI in July, and it's like
kids don't know what they got.
What's that?
These kids don't know what they got.
Oh, Shane's tapping out.
Oh,
Stefano
man.
is interfering. Shane's gonna wrap him up. Yep. That's it. Kruger does the job again. Yeah, no, definitely pulled his tights. That's a good retro one too. That's a retro little nuance. Where no, he pulled my tights, man. He pulled my tights. Alex Gracia versus Aria Blake. I have not seen Alex Gracia much. Like, I used to see a lot of Alex Gracia in Ring of Honor all the time, and I haven't not seen much of her since.
So Aria Blake is married to TJP.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I don't think I've seen her before.
Yeah, I've definitely not seen Aria
Blake before. Bob, I think you and I were talking about Gracia. How you, like you said, you kind of seen her a good bit, and then it was kind of like, where's she go? Where's she been?
Yeah. There's a lot of people from that era of Ring of Honor, let's say the closed down Ring of Honor, those last 2, 3, 4 years. Guys like Eli Isom, and that, like, I just don't see much anymore, who I thought the world of.
There's a lot of them that didn't get.
Yeah, there's another one
I was
with
gonna
red
say
hair.
there's a lot of them that.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
There's a lot of them that didn't get contracts picked up, and I couldn't figure out why when AEW bought them all.
Yeah, that's what I was going to add to that was that another girl of this stature with red hair from Ring of Honor that also I have not seen much of, who I don't think got picked up anywhere is Miranda Alizé. I thought she was fantastic too.
Yeah, she was. So right around here is where Arya gets hurt.
Ooh, from the dropkick?
No, it was someone for her elbow.
Oh.
I think it was a twist of the elbow.
Are we gonna? Oh, we only got 15 minutes left. I'm guessing is she gonna get injured and you're just gonna somehow go take it home quickly?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was saying because we got one match left in 15 minutes, so there can't be too much left of this. But it doesn't look like they're in a position to.
No, this match is only like 2.5 minutes.
Gotta see her shaking
That arm out.
Yep. And there it is. It's over. Was that like a serious arm injury?
Yeah.
Oh.
And like back then, we had a pink title, a glamour.
What color is it now?
Now we have an orange title. Orange.
That's right, orange. Hold on. What was I looking for with? Oh. Okay, so this is Xavier Walker defending the RPW
Yep.
title versus Rohit Raju. I was looking for. Oh, so I was going to look at Aria Blake. Okay, so she's been back. Cage Match has her having 3 matches ever since then. 2 more in the weeks that followed that injury, and then 1 in 2024. I don't know. Do you know, is she out of the business? Do you know, or?
Pretty much, yeah. Like, she had a baby at least like a year or two ago.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what else. I think that she just kind of got out.
Yeah. Yeah, I see she's listed as Aria Perkins now.
Yep. Yeah, because TJ Perkins is her husband.
Right.
Dude, I love Rohit.
Tell you.
What's that?
I said I love Rohit. He plays it up so well.
He is. He's so good. Like
Phenomenal.
the little things. Like I said, he's already priming the crowd right now. He's already powdered and confirmed with Karam.
So Rohit would be a great example of what you're talking about before, where he started really late.
Oh, okay.
So like I want to say during this match, Rohit's probably 40, 41.
See, this is cute. Now he's on the second rope.
Phenomenal.
We were at John. We were talking about that show, the ACW, the women's show we saw on Friday night earlier, and there was a spot, Rich, where Sammy Chaos they did a 4-way test of strength, and Sammy Chaos is so big that the gist of the gimmick was that she twisted her hands and all 3 of them crumbled, which was really funny.
Nice.
Yeah, but then they fought back from
Underneath, man.
Yeah, they
Turn
did.
the tables.
And Danny Moe was as advertised, man. She's such a pro. I enjoyed both the matches she was in.
Yeah, she was. I think she was my wife's favorite.
From the match.
Oh yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Xavier Walker, John. My footnote with Xavier Walker is, I got to hand the belt. Rich let me get in the ring and hand the belt to the guy who dethroned Xavier Walker about a year after this, and that would be Jake something.
Really?
Yep.
Nice.
He could not have been nicer.
This is the first I'm seeing Walker. I mean,
He looks like $1 million, man.
He's really good.
Since he lost the belt, Rich, he's not been back much with you, has he?
He hasn't. A lot of stuff is just based on logistics. He lives in Michigan, so like I want to have multiple people with him, and it's just one of those things where it's hard to have all those spots and have it make sense.
Right. No, I get it.
Because like when he drives, it's about 7 hours, 8 hours each way.
Wow. My daughter and I joked about that. Um, when I was one of the shows I was coming out for you, Rich, as you know, my daughters live in the southeast
Yep.
corner of Michigan, so um, we were talking about. I was like, no, it's cool. I'll fly out to Detroit. I'll pick you guys up, and then we'll drive around the lake. And when they found out how long that would take, they were done. But then we found out about the ferry, and I've been trying to get my kids on that ferry, but they won't go.
Where does it take you to, Sheboygan?
I thought the ferry when I was in Manitowoc, Manitowoc,
Yep.
there's a ferry station near there somewhere.
Okay.
I just remember because I was looking at the hotel and everything nearby. I think that hotel said it was 3 miles from some ferry stop or ferry dock.
Okay.
But that's all I know about it.
Yeah, because Detroit to Appleton's about 8 hours.
Okay.
Because they Walker
Throws a great looking punch, man.
And it's like part of it's that stature, right? Like Scott Hall, this guy Xavier's also he's big, tall, but also real long. And that is the same thing Scott Hall was, where it gives you this like he winds back on a punch or does anything like that with that momentum of his long body. There's like a visual or something that just really brings it home.
It definitely tells your eye where to watch. You know what I mean? You're watching this long arcing looping, and it just looks like it just lands so clean. You know, it just like I said, just little things, man. These are the goofy things we notice, right?
So our Rich because when I was out there, Rohit, Raju, and Karam were there then as well. Are they? I don't want to say a package deal, but you were just talking about Xavier trying to get him and some other guys to come together. Is that kind of the deal? If you want to bring both of them in together?
I try and bring all four of them in. So the four you mentioned are the four that ride together.
Oh, Rohit and Xavier and
So
Karam.
and Jake something.
Oh, no shit.
Yep.
That makes total sense.
A lot of times we do a lot of stuff based on logistics as far as like we'll do Minnesota, Illinois, Iowa, Michigan, Ohio, and I just try and make sense of where that group lives. We'll put them on that show.
Right.
Like this past show was St. Louis.
Oh, right. Because I remember you saying there were a few guys from St. Louis, like maybe Gary J.
Yeah, Gary J was from St. Louis, and so was Ben Truss is also from St. Louis.
Oh, right.
But it's one of those things where now like it's a lot harder because there's only so many spots. Like this show, we had 11 matches. I never want to see 11 matches ever again. Because it's one of those things where there's been times where we booked for 7 matches and we've had to call people in because people cancel. This show, we were hoping we'd get 3 or 4 that cancel. No, nobody canceled.
Murphy's Law, man.
Yup.
Yep.
mean, they did very good though. Like I think the show was only a total of like 3 hours and 10 minutes, something like that. It wasn't bad,
Yeah.
including the
I
other
say,
stuff.
I mean, it definitely has not felt. I mean, I know we've watched it the way we've watched it, but this does not feel like we've watched this much wrestling. You know what I mean? Or that much wrestling. Yeah, these are all. Man, this has been a great show.
Thank
You
you.
outdid yourself, Rich. This was awesome, man.
Yeah, this is stacked, man.
Appreciate that.
And I love the watering hole, man. I love that venue. I know I said it last time, or earlier, but it's just like, we've had a couple people say on the show, the venues are very important. Little things, from the bathrooms working to the acoustics to the, all of it. It's little things make a venue can take a venue from being okay to being really great.
I love the watering hole. It's just a matter of being available is the biggest key right now.
Right. Do you have any upcoming shows at the watering hole? You don't, do you?
We don't. Full disclosure, they're for sale,
Oh,
and they've been for sale for about a year. They've been for sale for about a year and a half that they've announced. And like for me, it's one of those where I don't want to risk it unless I can guarantee that the show is going to be there.
yeah.
Because we fly in people, and I can't risk having them being surprised. Sorry, you canceled the other bookings. This one doesn't exist.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. I love that corner camera caught him just right that time, though. Backing into that corner.
I mean, Will outdid himself. Will does a phenomenal job. I can't praise him enough. Um, he definitely got his name out there, though. I mean, we were the first one that gave him a chance to get his brand out there, and he definitely got his brand out there. So I'm very
Yeah, good for him, man. You see him right there ringside with a handheld.
uh-huh.
like you said, it's funny why
You do, because now that it's not something I would have normally looked for, but now, just talking with you guys and watching him, I mean, that guy is doing, listen, more cardio than I've done in my 40s. So,
He reminded me of the Energizer battery. He would just keep running around.
Uh-huh. Oh, I love that. Two. No, it was two. Well, only because we only have 2 minutes left in this recording is the fact that I know they're going home, but they've just really just methodically done this whole match.
It was a really good name. Like we had so many possibilities for the show that originally the show was going to be Jake something versus Steve Macklin, and Jake couldn't do it,
too.
and then Steve didn't want to come in if he couldn't work Jake, and I'm like, that's cool, I get it.
Wow. Something's coming here.
Because we built up to it, like this,
You build up to what?
having Steve work Jake. We had a show, our first ever Destiny. We had a gauntlet match of Xavier, Karam, Rohit, Jake, and Steve, and Xavier ended up pinning, I believe, Karam to win the title.
Oh, wow. That's a big boy, too, man. There's the choke slam. That's it.
Very nice.
Got rid of. I keep saying Karam. It's Karam.
I've always said Karam.
Yeah, I don't.
That was a great
match.
Yeah, that was a great main event. Xavier Walker's a guy.
Bucks. Nice
Yeah.
for the belt.
Is there somewhere where I should have seen Xavier Walker before? Like, I don't feel like I've seen him too many places besides out with you.
He works in Missouri for Glory Pro. I know that for sure. He works somewhat in I want to say Lower Michigan a little bit, but he doesn't really, unless he's established, he doesn't really want to be at places that aren't going to use him a lot.
No, that makes total sense. Oh, here's an appearance on Ring of Honor Club.
He's on NWA, I know, once or twice too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, good. I mean, it looks like he's all over the place getting his work in, and if he can be choosy about where he goes, then that better for him. You know what I mean? Like, you know what's best for you.
Absolutely.
100%. Like, I mean, there's some places that are just going to one off you, and then there's some places that are going to keep you going. Like, for us, it just became one of those things where it's hard to bring in one person from one city just because of transportation, because we pay all these people transportation.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Well, that's the end of the recording. Like I said, Rich, it was a great show. I mean, this show was pretty much all wrestling. No entrances, no extra interviews, no nothing, no intermission counted. 2 full hours of wrestling, an hour and 50 minutes of wrestling. So we know that show had to be at least 3 hours, if not 3.5.
I believe it was like three to 3:15.
Yeah, that's stacked, man. And all these matches were good. I mean, you had the Arya injury issue, but everything else was great. Deonna and Chelsea, like you said, Deonna was injured too, but
Even the way they dealt with
That though on the fly was great.
mhm.
Yeah, I don't remember what their finish was exactly. Like, I mean, Alex was going over. I just don't remember what the finish was.
I think it
Right.
was just a quick roll up out of the corner is if I remember right. And then, I mean, but it played perfectly.
Yeah, I just don't know what it was if there was no injury because we're supposed to go longer than 10.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah.
Right. Well, shoot. Well, that was a lot of fun. Rich, I was telling John that I already am enjoying the hell out of this format watching these shows. It's making me think that maybe there'll be if John and I can stay up late enough one night and keep the old men in our heads at bay, maybe we can live watch something on Triller or IWTV or something live, something that's got some folks that we all know, something maybe like Dreamwave Rich or Chicago style or something like that that we can all easily access and watch it live, and we can just comment on it live.
Yeah, we can probably do that. It just
Not to
depends
mention,
on the day of the week for work.
oh right, yeah, of course. And then also, there's a ton of other shows we could do on here. Because, like I said, your YouTube channel is broke up exactly that way, but it's very easy to find the full show. Even if I get it out of order, it's still easy to kind of put it together. So that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, and then like
Again, man, great show. Great show.
Thank you. And then I have some of the other ones that are just one camera angle. So like the last show I have that, I can send all that to you.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's great. Is it which like who did the one camera angle? Did you just set a camera up?
Just the guy that has the camera. He just has a camera and follows them around.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Cool. That'd be great. I would love to see that.
Like it was the guy that was at the Zilla Ken show, and then so we have that one, and we have the Danhausen show as well.
Okay. Well, that'll be cool. Yeah, no, very, very cool. Well, listen, so this is going to be a long episode, but I do have some shows to preview for the weekend. Rich, if you want to hang on with us and give us some insight on the folks that you may know.
Yeah.
Let's see. So this weekend, starting on Thursday, I think this episode is going to drop on Wednesday. So when you're listening to this tomorrow night, Santino Brothers Wrestling is having fight night at the VFW Azusa in Azusa, California, featuring Chris Nasty versus Finch for the Inner City title. La Serenacita 2 versus Nina. And Felix and Price versus Marachi Montana in a tag match. Let's see. Oh, here's a name from the past. It's gonna. I got a name on this list. It's gonna a blast from the past. Live Pro Wrestling on Friday, April 4th, is having Resilience at the Pembroke Rescue Squad in Pembroke, North Carolina. Team Pitbull versus Brett Locklear and Chief Red Thunder in an unsanctioned match. Bobby Wolfert versus Big Vaughn. Mike Fox versus Ochio Giovanni. Trip Cautious versus Adam Davis for the Fighting Spirit title. And Game Time Zay taking on George South. He's got to be 75 now, isn't he?
I'd say I've heard of George South.
Yeah, George South has been around for a minute.
Yeah, man. He was on like Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness. Let's see. Hold on. He is. All right. Sorry, George. I apologize. He's 62.
George, get in
where you fits in, man.
That's right. Let's see. Saturday, April 5th, Riot Pro Wrestling is having Anarchy at the Volusia Mall in Daytona Beach, Florida. D. Ramos is taking on Carlos the Gift Rivera in a New York street fight. Jarrell Ganzi versus JC Vega in a White Boy Challenge. John, you want a part of a White Boy Challenge?
in this political
climate.
I don't think either one of the guys that are wrestling in the match are white, though. I'd have to go back and look, but I don't think either one of them are, which is really even more confusing to me.
Hey, I'm old enough to know. My children have taught me. I do not judge on how anybody identifies, Bob.
That's exactly fair enough. Fair enough. Well, these guys they're challenging motherfuckers. Let's see. We got TJ Brady defending the Young Lions title against Jacob Guile. Sean Scott defending the heavyweight title against Ray Zion. And the Colonel versus Alejandro Bravo. Let's see what else we got here. And Peabody, Massachusetts Proving Ground is having Super Fight Round 4 at the Peabody Knights of Columbus. Joey Warner versus Riley O'Neal. The Monarchy versus the Dickbusters. Jamie Tucker versus Sammy Diaz in a number 1 contenders match. Frank Bones versus Delilah Hayden for the Proving Ground DLC title. And Mike Grocka versus Mike Skiros for the heavyweight championship. At Lucky Pro Wrestling, they're having Mayhem at the Elks Lodge 1247 in Leominster, Massachusetts. Gabby Forza versus Luscious Latasha. Leo Sparrow versus Will Strauss in a number 1 contendership match for the Hard Knocks title. John's guy, Brian Bayside, taking on Sweat Boy. I don't even know anything about Sweat Boy, but I want to see Brian Bayside versus Sweat Boy.
Yeah, we've taken a liking to Brian
Bayside for sure.
Let's see. We got Nikki Valentine versus Nat Castle. The Hoods defending the tag titles against Los Toxicos. Randy Shawn defending the Hard Knocks title against Johnny Pierce. And Coach Webb defending the heavyweight title against Scotty Slade. At Pro Wrestling 225 in Denham Springs, Louisiana, the 225 Mania taking place at the LM Lockhart Gym. Wild Thing and Beautiful Bobby defending the tag titles against Property of Self. Triple threat match for the SEC title. Braxton Hunter versus Simon Phillips versus Wes Warren. Brandon Collins taking on JTM. Vladimir Koloff, who just successfully defended his title at AWA last week. John, he's the one I was telling you about who has the Russian Assassins and Bill Alfonso.
Yeah. Bill Alfonso. Wow. Taking
on Michael White for the heavyweight title. And a women's division match, T. Gaines versus Shay Carmichael. In Clinton Township, Michigan, this is right near my kids. XICW is holding April Foolishness at the Premier Events Center. That's not super close to you, Rich, but it's sort of out your way. Do you know anything about XICW or ever deal with those guys?
I worked from when I was a rep back in the day.
Oh, yeah?
Great.
Yep.
Very cool.
Truth Martinis was one of the head people when I was there.
Oh, nice. I think the world of Truth Martini, too.
Truth Martini.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is he a trainer, or is he just running, like, the promotion? Or was he then, I mean?
I thought he was a trainer back then, but like he wasn't the promoter or somebody else. I don't remember who it was, but like I was on a show with like Chris Hero, uh I can't the guys on WWE, Motor City Machine Guns, except they had singles matches back then because Alex Shelley was teaming with somebody else.
See. Okay, so this says it was the DBA and Malcolm Monroe that opened the business, and then it's just the DBA is the owner out at XICW. You know the DBA at all? Other than Brad probably booked you.
I booked because I was with Silas.
Oh,
I
okay.
did a lot of shows with Silas.
Is Silas still working for these guys? Do you know?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay. Let's see what we got here. Oh, they're proving ground. Oh wait, this may be old though. How old is this? Before I speak on it. Results from 25. No, it looks like their tag champions right now are the DBA and Rhino.
Okay.
So that works. Let's see. Anyway, so XICW is having a show this weekend, Clinton Township, Michigan. So they're having a match, I think, at a June pay-per-view or a May pay-per-view. It seems like where they're having these initial matches, and my guess is, John, it's going to be like ACW the other night. I think there's going to be a 6-pack or a fatal 5-way or something at the next event with all the winners.
Yeah.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that.
That was a fun evening.
Yeah, it was. Let's see. So here are your matches. All these matches, the winner advances to the vacant title match at the next event, starting with Nate Matson versus Marcus Porter, RC3 versus Devin Riker, Caden Monroe versus 24K, Great Tiger versus Solo, Jamal King versus Alex Weir, and AOD versus Jack Price. Also on that card, Aaron O'Ryan is defending the Midwest title. Adam Wick is defending the Midwest title against Aaron O'Ryan. And in a mixed tag, we got DBA and Randy West taking on Heather Blue and Maximilian. You want to talk about violent? Randy West and Schwartzy know a thing or two about violence. Let's see.
Isn't Soul Taker on that show?
I think so. Yeah, I think they got Soul Taker's making an appearance. It said, yeah.
He's reached out to me before.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know much about him other than I think you may have mentioned that to me before, and I think I looked him up when you mentioned it. Of course, when you look up Soul Taker in wrestling, the first thing you get is The Godfather.
Yeah.
Really? Huh.
Oh yeah.
What was that from? Was that from like USWA or something?
I want to say it was
USWA, and then it didn't it come over? Wasn't it for a minute in WCW? I want to say maybe for a slight hot minute.
Hold on, I'm looking this up. I'm going to the Wikipedia route. So, Soul Taker throughout 1990, Wright made appearances in Japan with New Japan Wrestling as the Soul Taker. During those appearances, he teamed with Crusher Bam Bam Bigelow. And then let's see, WWF, he's Sir Charles, Papa Shango. Is that the only place it mentions Soul Taker 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Does he bring it back somewhere?
Somewhere in the States, we wouldn't have been able to see it.
I don't see it.
So was that before Papa Shango?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, wait, here we go. In November 1990, Wright wrestled for Catch. Oh, Global. In 1991, he was GWF as Soul Taker.
That's GWF.
That's what it was. Oh.
John's getting a hanker for some GWF now.
I am, man. 1, 2, 3. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
A little. What was it? What was Bagwell in there? The stranger, the romantic stranger, some weird Playboy. I mean, there were some good guys in that back in the day. ESPN, man, it was good for something back then.
Didn't the 1-2-3 kid come from there originally?
Yes, he
Yes.
did.
Yeah,
He was
right.
I believe the Lightning. I think he was the Lightning kid in G.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Because I think that came on at like 4 o'clock Central Time, like Monday through Friday around here.
If I'm not mistaken, was Booker in there for a minute?
I think he was.
Yeah. So, like I said, man, there were some guys that came out of there.
Yes.
Did they do a documentary on that as far as was that Dark Side of the Ring thing or no?
I don't know if
I
they did
think
or
it's
not.
coming up. I think I might have seen it was. Hold on.
Just like how we just mentioned it and we all popped. That was awesome.
I love Dark Side of the Ring.
Me too. I don't see it. I'll keep looking for it while we're talking, but I thought I saw. Let me see. Let me see. I'll just go to this list of this season, season 6.
Yeah, I'm looking through them now. I'm not seeing anything either.
Okay. Yeah, I know this season's crazy. I think Ludwig Borges tonight.
It is.
The one about Hell in a Cell was
that one
good,
looks
but
very intriguing.
what's that?
The Ludwig Borga one looks very intriguing.
Yes. And I'm all about the Daphne one too. Like people if you weren't in the wrestling business, like, and all you know was that she was the screamer on WCW, you really don't have any idea how much Daphne contributed to the business, man. It's crazy.
I remember vaguely WCW, but that's about all I remember. Just the little bit with David Flair and stuff like that.
That stuff was so good.
So,
and she was running Shimmer, or she was out there running either training or something for. She was involved in one of those women's promotions.
It's very possible because her and Allison Kay were really good friends.
Right. Let's see. Oh, it's not really in here. I'll find it, but yeah, I think she was involved with Shimmer before it went down. And I love Shimmer. I was sad to see. I keep sometimes every now and then Shimmer will post something on their Facebook page that's like a retro look back or something, and I'm like, "Ooh, is it time for Shimmer to come back?" But nope.
So, dude,
I had to look it up because it was driving me crazy, the GWF stuff. And so, I mean, just some of the names are there. You know, you had the original guys out there. You had Del Wilkes. You had Raven, Scott Levy. You had the Handsome Stranger. You had Bagwell. Cactus was in there. Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert was in there. John Hawk. So that was JBL. Jerry Lynn. Barry Horowitz. Booker T and Stevie Ray were in there. Lightning Kid, which was obviously X-Pac and 1-2-3 Kid. And I forgot, dude, that because I remember them calling it the Global Dome, live from the Global Dome. But that was just what they were calling it for that because it was the Sportatorium. They were running out of the Sportatorium. That is, so good. So good.
Sportatorium's
gone. That was the launch of ESPN2.
What's that, Rich?
That was the launch of ESPN2, wasn't it?
I believe it was. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sportatorium's gone, isn't it? Did they demolish it? Yeah, they did. In 03.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Well, let me see what else we got here. So, I think I was telling you earlier, our buddy Brock's friend of the show, Brock's Boulder, reached out to me earlier because I posted my tag team rankings, and he was offended that Grappling Inc. wasn't in the top 15 tag teams this month. But John, don't worry. I promised him that they're number 17 on the long list. That they just missed the cut.
and I hope
you told him it was an average of our scores, and John was like, I was at 5 and Bob was at 20 something, so it averaged out to 17.
No, I told him you're in charge of the rankings. It's a unilateral thing.
Oh, is that what it is?
So he says to me,
delegate mine to
who?
To January, to my wife.
Okay. Oh, damn.
So good luck with that, Brox.
Oh my gosh. So Brock says to me, all right, fine. if we're not ranked in the top 15, the least you can do is promote our show this weekend. So I said, all right, fine, I guess. No, I'm kidding. We love Brock's, but they're having a show this Saturday at the new Art of Grappling arena upstairs where they just moved up to, and he sent me the card. They've got handsome Nick Hamrick taking on your boy Lifeguard Ross for the AOG Championship. They've got
Ross.
Lifeguard Ross he's a mess, man. I love it. They got Nick Morningstar taking on Josh the Rocket Benson. Zach Apollyon versus Evil Nate. In a ladder match for the inaugural AOG Dreamer Championship, Tyler Rosfeld versus Chris Ringrose versus Jeff Gallagher versus Caleb Throne. Wes Segra taking on the prize fighter Ken Jenkins. Voodoo King versus Hobo Joe. Hobo Joe, if he lasts 5 minutes with Voodoo, he wins $500. And then Brox and Titan Troy Grappling Inc. are in a #1 contender match for the tag titles against Jordan Carlisle and Adrian Alexander. I saw Jordan Carlisle out at that Route 33 show. He's good. He's a good heel. He's the one, Jordan Carlisle is the one that John D. Hillbilly was prancing around in his shawl.
The $5,000
boa.
That's it. That's Jordan Carlisle.
Awesome.
Oh, man. So that'll be a fun show. Anybody who's out near the Ohio-Kentucky border, Ironton, Ohio, anybody who can get out there, guys, please go out there and support AOG, support FTC Art of Grappling, support Brock's Boulder, support Bobby Blaze. They support us. So please, we hope you will go out and support them. Let's see. Tar Heel Championship Wrestling. And as a Duke fan, that offends me. But since Carolina's out of both tournaments, they can pound sand. But Tar Heel Championship Wrestling is not the Tar Heels, and they are good. They're having New Vision at the Clinton V. Willis National Guard Armory in Laurinburg, North Carolina. Marcus Mayhem is taking on Vinny DiMucci for the Carolina title. A #1 contender to the tribal title triple threat match, easy for me to say. Walking Thunder Bison versus Renegade versus Adonis Stone. A.M. Payne taking on E-Money Millie. And Jeff Paul versus Nathan Cross for the heavyweight title. Coastal Championship Wrestling, which we mentioned before, they just had their big anniversary show last week. John, that was the show with they were supposed to have MVP taking on Gangrel, but I heard that turned into a tag match with MVP and Gangrel on the same side.
I don't hate
right?
it.
Yeah, right, exactly. Hey, look, MVP and Gangrel in the same place, I'm fine. So anyway, CCW, after that big show last week, they're having Bash at the Brew 51. That's their big monthly show in Miami at the Tank Brewing Company. Domino defending the Southeast title against the Brian Kendrick. Other than a few stupid comments Brian Kendrick made that got him his contract at AEW supposedly torn up, I'm a big fan of Brian Kendrick, man. That guy definitely knows how to go in the ring. You see him training tons of people.
Yeah, always been a
Brian Kendrick fan. Yes, absolutely.
What'd you say, Rich?
I met him back in the day when he was Spanky. He was
yeah.
him and Nydia have a picture of him.
Oh, that's awesome. I love
He was
Spanky.
probably like 21 at the time, something like that.
Wow. I thought Spanky was going to get himself over. I really did. I thought that was the thing. I thought it was coming. And then all of a sudden, he had that cup of coffee, and then he was gone.
Yep.
I
His biggest thing in WWE was probably with Paul London.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. That tag team. If Paul London had a little more charisma, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
wrestling IQ out the wazoo, but
no
yes,
BS.
charisma.
Yeah.
Told you, another guy, Paul London, another Lucha Underground. I'm telling you, he was awesome in Lucha. So
yeah, John's trying to get me to do a Lucha Underground watch because I only got to watch the first season. Let's see.
Yeah, a lot of good talent there.
Yeah.
And I did verify, Bob.
It was 4 seasons.
Yep.
They got that extra season when they switched over to Netflix.
That's right. That's right. That makes more sense now. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see. On the CCW show, Bash at the Brew 51, you got Brian Kendrick versus Domino for the Southeast title. Also, Ruthie J, the BS champion. I'm calling her out right now. We had a dusty finish at Anniversary, John. Nikki Blackheart had the belt in her hands, and it was taken away from her by, I think, a second referee who swore she saw brass knuckles. And next thing you know, Ruthie J's disqualified and runs away with the belt. Boo. But Ruthie J's going to be taking.
The dusty finishes.
Oh my God. The most frustrating parts of the 80s, man. Ruthie J is going to defend the women's title against Nvidia, even though her days are numbered until Nikki Blackheart gets her. Elliot Crow is going to defend the cruiserweight title against Danny Everborn. That's a name I'm seeing a lot more of lately. I want to check him out because I see his name more and more.
Is that the Everborn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, at Anniversary, new tag champs were crowned. 5-Star Era knocked off the South American Alliance of Ariel Levy and Venetius. I just saw a thing posted that apparently Venetius attacked the referee after the match, and he's been indefinitely suspended. I've got to assume without pay. That has got to be a devastating financial blow to Venetius, I'm sure. Anyway, so let's see who else. Agony is taking on Ozzy Killmeister in a street fight. King Eddie Valentine is having his world title celebration as he defeated Meadow for the world title on last Friday to Anniversary. Stunned the crap out of me. But King Eddie Valentine is one hell of a heel, man. So I'm really hoping to get him on the show. AJ Francis. What's that?
I said, sounds like it's gonna be a blast. And then you went in right into another one of my favorites, man, AJ Francis.
AJ Francis versus Alan S2S Martinez. Nowadays, when I think of AJ Francis, all I think of is the Joe Hendry song that made fun of him and called him the Cheez-Its champion. I can't get enough. I can't get enough. Where are you on Joe Hendry, Rich?
What's that?
Where are you on Joe Hendry? What do you think of him?
I think he's great. It's just a matter of time and place.
Right. Totally.
We've talked before. He follows us on Instagram.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, AJ Francis.
So it's just a matter.
Yeah. AJ Francis is going to be taking on Alan S2S Martinez, also of the South American Alliance. Then we've got not just a WWE ID match, but a WWE ID tag match. It's Gall, which I watched IWC this past weekend, and he was on the IWC show, and I thought it was Gal, but it's Gall. It's Gall is his name. He's teaming with Jackson Drake to take on Cappuccino Jones and Jack Cartwheel, who I also think is fantastic. Have you ever had any of those guys out there, Rich?
I have not. I know who they are, but I've never had them here.
Let's see what else we've got here. A couple more. Gladiator Championship Wrestling is having Starcade Stampede at the Mulberry Fairground in Mulberry, Arkansas. Ashes and Ruin taking on the America Classics in a tag match. Matthew DeLuna versus Talon KD for the Gladiator World title. Urza Menagerie Tinker versus Rebel Ruby Devlin in a #1 contender match for the Gladiatrix International title. And Johan Nara taking on former AEW talent Fuego del Sol. He's another one, man. Fuego can go, and he's just so much fun.
Yes, he can.
I've talked to him before. He's a good guy.
Yeah? Cool. Let's see. One Fall Entertainment. This is out. How far is Kiel, Wisconsin from you, Rich?
Probably like 45 to an hour.
Oh, not too far.
No,
Do you know these folks over at One Fall Entertainment?
I do.
Oh, good. They're having Unbreakable this week at the Gravel Pit. Jay Leon versus Yoshi Kai. Rafael Quintero, who I believe is like the Chicago-style secondary champion, taking on Zach Hendricks. Two guys I know Rich has booked before, Aaron Arsenal defending the Tri-County title versus Ethan Matthews. Backwoods Brown versus Joey Avalon in a number one contender match. Axel Rico defending the One Fall Entertainment title against Super Z. And Jay Cross taking on Sean Priest for the Strong Style title. We talked much about Aaron Arsenal and Ethan Matthews, but I know Joey Avalon. But anybody else on that on that list, that show that I just mentioned that that you know, that you've booked, that you've seen?
Zach Hendricks has worked for us multiple times. I know Backwoods Brown. I know Axel Rico. I know. Trying to think who else. Super Z. I know the name, but I've never talked to them, but I know the name. But yeah, it's most of those people I know.
Cool. How's Zach? I don't know anything about Zach or Zach's character.
I've never talked to him, so I'm not sure who the character even is, who the person is.
I mean,
it could be somebody I know.
Zach Hendricks?
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant Super Z guy. Sorry. Zach Hendricks is awesome. He actually is tag team partners with Doc Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
They're Country Air.
Right. Oh, so I saw them when I was out there.
Yeah. Yep. So that's he's one of the part of the tag team with them.
Okay. Man, that's a shame. So many. It's hard. You see so many people and names, and I totally forgot about that. I wrote him up and everything. Excuse me.
Yeah, they're a really good tag team.
Mm-hmm. I got a couple of shows out in California, and then one in Massachusetts, and then one for Sunday. So, starting in Vista, California, at the Boys and Girls Club, SoCal Pro Wrestling is having Anniversary 18. Anthony Idol versus JTG. Now, I've seen JTG only a couple of times since he's been on the Indies. I never saw him when he was in the big time, but I like JTG, man. He's got a swagger and an attitude, man. He can capture a room for you.
He can.
Let's see. The Lucha Kings are going to defend the tag titles against the Ballard Brothers. Fidel Bravo is going to be taking on Tortuga in a no DQ match for the heavyweight title. Jason and Jake Redondo taking on Eddie Islas and Joey Lancaster. And then they're going to have a cash in the contract battle royal. In Oroville, California, Pro Championship Wrestling. John, this is PCW. We reviewed their YouTube show a couple of weeks ago. So there's some names we'll know. Starting off most notably with one of the names that popped us, Arsonist, the Arsonist, defending the Prospect title against Rick Luxury. The Dudes defending the tag titles against the Appeal. What's that?
That was nice. And you said the Dudes.
They're not dynamic, are they?
No, God. No, Johnny Ace will be nowhere near here.
Okay, I'm just checking.
Oh, man. And then in the two matches you and I already knew about after we covered the show, Bad News Blakesley's defending the heavyweight title against the winner of the Rumble, Dickie Dakin. And Zach Reeve is going to get his shot at Anthony Marcus.
Ooh.
Your boy Illumide defending the Inter-California title against Boyce LeGrand. And Ethan Reno taking on Sergio Santana. Was Sergio Santana the one that got eliminated from the Rumble in like 2 seconds?
2 seconds.
He had all the talk, came in, right back out. It was great.
Yeah, Rich, he pulled the spot. We were watching this Rumble. He pulled the spot where he's got the microphone in his hand the entire way to the ring talking shit. Then the second he sets down the microphone, they eliminate him. It's just great wrestling shit.
Nice.
At Atlantic Pro Wrestling at the Newburyport Elks Lodge in Newburyport, Massachusetts. I didn't see that they had a name for this. So Mortar is going to be taking on Nico Silva. Kayla Carroll versus Livia, who I think the world of, versus for the women's title. Scotty Slade versus Vern Vicolo, who I made a crucial error thinking he was someone else a couple of weeks ago. They'll be battling for the heavyweight championship. And then they're going to have a number one contenders tournament. And I think these matches are just the first round. I think the future matches are going to be held at another event. But these first 4 matches are Milo Mira and his pogo stick, who I mention almost every week because I seem to see the guy everywhere. Big fan of Milo Mira. Is going to take on Keon. Jason Vaughn versus Gunnar Moody. Elia Markopoulos is taking on Kid V. And Jason Maverick is taking on the Focus Pro champion, Manny Aries. And then on Sunday in San Lorenzo, California, Wrestling for Charity is having a Lucha Libre show at Tacos Blue Diamond in San Lorenzo. Estrella Latina versus Curandero versus Tuco Montez versus Diablo Azteca in a fatal 4-way for the Lucha title. Lo Devereaux versus Snake Daddy Brian Joseph versus Lucha Soldier Arsenal versus Jules Raphael in a Young Lions Showcase fatal 4-way. Boyce LeGrand is going to be there as well, having a Dynamite Division Open Challenge. And El Comico will be taking on Carmelo Romeo. If you can't tell, I tried to get a bunch of places we haven't really covered much this week as opposed to some of the old favorites. John Brock said, I did tell you, I did communicate to you, John, that Rich said he expects to see you in Wisconsin on September 27th for Destiny. Well, now apparently Brox is expecting to see us in Ironton, Ohio at some point for one of his shows. So we got a lot of traveling to do.
Hey man, let's just make a weekend out of it.
Yeah. The Ohio Kentucky border to Milwaukee, to Green Bay, Wisconsin. What's that? 12 hours?
Yeah. Yeah, that's nothing, man. We get a couple of Jolt Colas and then throw on some honky tonk man music and we'll be on our way.
Just get the Delta Sky Miles. You can get like 12.
Rich is always up at the Sky Miles. I gotta get into that. He's right. Oh my God.
Right.
But you said the honky tonk man music. Do you have your copy of Pile Driver, the wrestling album, or do I have to bring mine?
Well, you bring yours. I've got mine by other means, but let's go old school. Let's do a little analog, man.
Oh my God!
You still got to work in disc. You got a disc man. What do you got? I mean, we got to pop it in the cassette player. We got to get the cord. We'll be good.
My God, we were talking about Pile Driver. I was telling my daughter about Pile Driver, the wrestling album, and for some reason, the first song that popped up on YouTube when I searched Pile Driver was "Girls in Cars," the Strike Force the theme song.
Yes.
I sent that to my daughter. She's like, "No, thanks. I'm done."
Yeah.
I said, no, wait. You want to hear Pile Driver? She said, nope. Oh, my goodness.
I don't think I've heard that. I know some of the songs from it, but I don't think I heard the whole cassette.
Oh, my God. I wore that cassette out.
It's a work of art.
What year did it come out? Did it come out 88, 87?
I think it's 87, yeah. Because Coco Beware sings Pile Driver. Yeah, and then they got the Honky Tonk Man. Let's see. The album came out, and then the Demolition song clearly was the one, man.
That one's awesome.
Pile Driver came out September 21, 87.
Between my copy, Bob's copy, and the one other one that's out in the world somewhere, I know there's at least 3 copies.
There you go.
Listen to this. So, Girls in Cars, the Strike Force theme, the Honky Tonk Man song, which was also a classic.
Yes.
The Slick Jive Soul Bro song came from that album.
Oh my gosh.
Gene Okerlund teamed up with Rick Derringer to sing Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo. The Pile Driver by Coco Beware, the Demolition song. Stand Back, the Vince McMahon. Remember he did the Stand Back at the Slammies?
Yes.
In the tuxedo doing the dancing? That's that from that album.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. Vince McMahon singing Stand Back.
And all those on stage. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so good. Oh man, that's just classic stuff, man. Anybody who's listening who's under the age of 30 is gonna be like, what the hell are these idiots talking about? But I don't care. This was a pivotal moment in my childhood, boys.
We are such nerds.
We are, but we are nerds who have to get Rich out of here because I think Rich has to go to work soon, right?
I got about 10 minutes left.
All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna wrap us up here. Anybody else got anything else they want to talk about before we go?
Did you want to talk about LFG from the Mickey James stuff or no?
Oh yeah, well, okay. So we can cover the episodes because I think we watched the first 3 when we talked about it last, so we've got something to catch up on.
Right.
But the Mickey James
I'm definitely
spot,
behind.
yeah, the Mickey James spot while you're on it. So I did see that Mickey James. There's a controversy, I guess, right now because Mickey James apparently made a comment to Xena Sterling on the last episode because Xena Sterling came out wearing an outfit that really kind of did look like lingerie, although it wasn't really like see-through or lacy or anything. It just kind of had the sort of the shape and sort of the design of what you might consider lingerie. And Mickey James apparently made a comment that, she worked in the Divas era and they worked really hard to make it so that girls didn't have to come out and show their ass everywhere they go. And now when she sees women coming out showing nothing but their ass, it makes her angry, essentially. I don't know. Maybe Rich could say it better. Maybe Rich was watching the episode.
I watched it, and like most of the women I work with, that's pretty much how they dress.
Mhm.
So like I don't know what she wants them to wear. That's where I'm confused.
Mhm.
Like I respect Mickey James a lot as a wrestler. I respect her knowledge and everything else, but I was very confused by that because it's like a lot of the women have two different standards. They have aspects of the wrestling part, but they also have the sex appeal part. If you take away the sex appeal part, it's gonna detract people from seeing them.
Right. No, I understand what you're saying, right? It's not all about nobody should be going to these wrestling shows and ogling these women and being dirty and dirty old men like me and John or whatever. But like at the same time, that sexuality is part of the presentation. It doesn't give it doesn't give any man a right to do anything, but it does give them the power to be who they want to be. And I don't know. I thought, of course, I'm the paranoid conspiracy theory guy, right? But to me, it felt like the whole segment was a work. It felt like it was like they had to have
Say,
known that people were going to call Mickey James a hypocrite the moment she said it.
oh, absolutely. But
We've also going into it know, we're losing her for season 2. Do you think this is kind of, you know, well, we knew this was going on. We've got some footage. Let's create our narrative. This,
Ah,
Mickey didn't feel like she wanted to come back. She wanted to move on to other things. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, we know these reality shows can be cut and
It's a way
put
to get off.
together. Sorry, Rich, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say it's a way to get her off the show
mm-hmm.
Right.
because they could be like, she's not fitting the mold of what we want.
Yep.
And you move Mrs. Taker right on in. So it works out.
You move Mrs. Taker in, and I turn my TV off. Sorry, was that extreme? I but see, here's the thing for me. I hated the Diva era. Most of us hated the Diva
Hmm.
era, except, the basement dwellers who like to ogle, but the rest of us hated the Diva era. And to me, Michelle McCool is like the epitome of that era to me. I mean, God, even someone like Candice Michelle started as a diva and tried to learn to get really good. And by the end, Candice Michelle was really good in the ring. Um, but I don't know. I've just never been impressed with Michelle McCool. That's just me. Well,
The problem with the Diva era is that they didn't get enough time. Also,
also very true. And if they weren't getting that much time, then they probably weren't. They either didn't have the incentive to train themselves as much because they knew they didn't have to do that much, or there wasn't as much of an incentive for them to get really good in the ring. Because why would you if you're doing 2 minutes or you're doing bra and panties?
yeah, you're working 90 seconds, or you're working maybe 4 minutes doing a evening gown match at a pay-per-view.
Right. Or pillow fight or mud wrestling or
Yeah,
it's
it
sad.
was. I mean, that's the thing. Like that's why we try so hard to get people out of that narrative
Mhm.
by having actually decent matches and people that can do justice to the women's division.
Absolutely. And you're seeing it now, man. Once the women's division started to be taken seriously, man, women's wrestling is, I mean, at a peak right now. This is a huge up time or whatever for women's wrestling. It's and good because it's always been really good. And the more time they get, the better the matches are going to be, the more interesting they're going to be, the more invested everyone's going to be in the storylines, except for AEW fans who, by my account, they all go to the bathroom during women's matches, which pisses me off.
The one woman that's going to get a look eventually, if people do their radar correctly, Lainey Luck is one of the best people in the Midwest, if not the entire United States. The fact she hasn't signed yet with somebody is amazing to me.
Yeah. And she's another one. She's all over the Midwest. And she's not just the Midwest, she's out here.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to see Lenny Luck.
She's doing Canada shows everywhere. So
she's from Kansas City, it says. She's 32.
Lainey is from who?
Laney Luck. It says she's from Kansas City. Or it says that's her birthplace.
She lives in Chicago. Okay, that's possible. She lives in Chicago, though.
Yeah. This is just me pulling from Cage Match.
I remember Rich mentioning that.
Yeah, but she was in that MAW women's tournament we talked about. She was at the MLP show that you were watching, John, the pieces of. I mean,
yeah,
I saw her. I've told you before, and I made the comment to Rich how good I thought the match was. I saw her in Sierra at Rich's show, and I know you think the world of Sierra. So, I mean, that match was just smooth, man. Just smooth.
Yeah, Laney is really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, guys, I am going to wrap this thing up for this week. It has become one of the things I want to tell everyone is Brock's actually reminded me of this earlier when he reached out to me, and I ended up putting his Art of Grappling show on here because they don't really list it too much on the Facebook page, so it's hard for me to get to it. But he sent it to me directly, and so I want anybody to know, promoters, performers, anybody who wants to promote something that you're doing. If you've listened to the show, we do these weekend previews. We will cover your show. We will preview your show. We're not shills. We're not going to help you sell tickets. But if you want to send us your card, tell us who you are and where people can go, we will let them know because we're here to connect people to independent wrestling. And in that same vein, our and new segment that we do this week, we're not going to do one because it's going to be on social media this week because we're trying to get to the rewatch. But anybody who wants, if you are a promoter and you have crowned a new champion in the past week, if you are a wrestler who has won a championship in the past week, let us know. Find us on social media. Email me at indiewrestlingexperience@gmail.com. Let me know what title you won, what promotion you won it for, and we will absolutely mention it on the show. We are here to spread the word about promotions, events, new champions, performers, whatever you got. Send it to us, and we will do our best to get it on the show. Again, that's indiewrestlingexperience@gmail.com. As always, at the end of the show, I tell everybody, check us out on Linktree. That's the best place to find us, Indie Wrestling Experience. We are on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram that way. We are on Blue Sky and Twitter as Indie Wrestling XP, plus the Smug Mug, which is under my name, Robert Richards. Anyway, it's all on the Linktree. Go find us on Linktree. There's a bunch of cool stuff from the interview with Samson, his match from the latest pay-per-view, and a bunch of other cool stuff. So anyway, go check us out. I'm running long. Everybody have a good week, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Everybody.